Way no brownout this evening. Wow. Hello, viewer. Today it is Sunday, June the 4th, 2023. I am Mr. Brown, and I trust you are all doing very well today. On this evening's stream/podcast, we are discussing the goings on in entertainment and on the social media. But before we begin, you can find us here on the YouTube, or if you prefer your entertainments in the podcast form, we are also on Spotify. The links are in the description. So if you've not shut down for the evening, as I always say, lots to get through. Shall we get the guests out? You know it. Let's do it. Of course we should. Okay, first up, he is the backbone of Sunday nights. You know it is. I genuinely love this guy. It is the fantastic Matt Cad 83.
What's up, nerds? I love you too.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello, friend. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm
How
good.
are you?
There's a wicked delay on this stream this evening, isn't there? Echo, echo, echo.
Yeah, I'm sorry if my internet, for some odd reason, as soon as I start streaming with people, it gets all weird on me, and I'm all like, I don't know why it does that. But hopefully I can figure it out.
VPN?
I do.
VPN.
Is that bad?
StreamYards.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I can turn it off in just a second. And then.
So, my friend, how are you? Is your channel doing well?
I'm doing well. My channel, I think my channel's doing, well. It's, yeah,
What's
yeah,
the
it's
number?
doing well. I think I'm at like 5,700. So, I mean, but I mean that's not like huge or anything like that. So
Can you touch the 6K? Is it?
I think by the end of the year I will for sure. Yeah,
I think you will. You deserve it anyway, mate. You are
thank you. I
genuinely
appreciate
one of
that.
the funniest guys I know. So you
Right
deserve
on.
it, my friend. You know what my next question is, don't you, my friend?
I do, and I say we bring out that next guest.
Yes. Okay. Next, we see the good inside our next guest. He is the Dark Sith Lord, Little Platoon.
Good
Hello there.
evening.
Hello, mate.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm all good, thank you. Yeah, not too bad. Been worse.
No brownout this week, thank God.
No, I was sitting there, had my finger on the button, ready to jump in and rescue you from your own stream, but happily this week it all seems to be going to plan.
What have you been working on this week, Lord? I hear you've still been having trouble with the Autobots.
Yep, it's The Little Mermaid this week. It's always
Tossers.
Disney that's doing it. I made sure I went down, I clipped every single clip, and there's thousands of them, to make sure nothing was only over 5 seconds, only to discover that the algorithm automatically rounds up. So if your clip is 4.23 seconds long, and that is the longest mine was, it says it's 5 seconds and then blocks it. So all of the work I had to do re-editing has been redone. It's uploading as I speak. And hopefully, this time now nothing is over 4 seconds, it might actually get up. But it's also poised and ready to go on Twitter, so if it does end up getting delayed, then I'll stick it on there again.
I can appreciate it's probably good money if you've got the subs, but God, it seems to be a pain in the backside.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, and it delays everything else as well, because my internet's not very good. So whenever it's uploading, I can't really do very much else. It's only lucky, really, that it seems to be working well enough to come on a stream tonight. But it means I can't really watch anything because everything buffers to hell. So I can't do any other work while this video is in progress, which puts me at a huge delay. So after this, I have basically a month's worth of stuff I need to catch up on because of this video and the Peter Pan one.
When will you be going to bed? A week on Thursday?
Yeah, probably about that, yeah.
Okay. So, great to have you on, Lord. Shall we get the next body out?
Here. Sounds like a plan.
Okay. So, all the way from the land of Texas Shire, she is the queen of this channel. She's married, apparently. Reniel.
Hello.
Hello.
How's everybody
Hello.
doing today?
Fine. Are you?
Yay. So you heard that rumor about me being married again? I don't know crap, but yeah.
Somebody mentioned it in passing.
I know.
I don't know who keeps spreading this rumor around.
I don't know. Some crazy person. I don't know.
Here you go, folks. Quick question. Here we go. Hinge and Swallows at Mr. Brown Lion says me, where's the manly lesbian representation on the panel tonight? No Starsky and Butch.
We can just have Brown do that.
It can be both of them at the same time.
That's right.
Take
You
what you
get a
can,
twofer.
folks. When you get to a certain age, as I always say, take what you can. So, are you well, Rennie? Sounds like it.
Yeah. Yeah, how about you guys?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I don't know, Rennie. Is it graduation season for you? An open house season for you?
Well, it is. So that means the kiddos are getting out of school. It's summertime, just about, which means it's going to be hell going anywhere. So, yay!
I've been to 2 open houses this graduation parties this weekend, and I'm all like, I don't want to give any more kids my money. So, but
luckily, I do not have any children, so I do not have to worry about that.
Oh, you
None
don't,
of my
you
kids
don't go to.
Where,
Do you have
where
nieces or
your
nephews or
children?
anything? Where are your children?
Yeah, but they're not old enough yet. And then,
Gotcha.
you know, none of my friends, like, a lot of them don't have kids, but the ones that do, they're like, yeah, we know you're not a parent. We're not even going to bother. I'm like, you're awesome.
Gotcha.
Jim D says, I'm covering fat, grumpy representations.
There we go.
So, you well, Rennie?
Yeah, I'm good.
Shall
I
we
hope
get
you're
the
well.
next person out?
Yeah, roll
Do
them
it.
on out.
Okay, this is the big one, folks. Next, new to the channel, is one of our own from the chat. He is, if I can speak, the uninspired reviewer.
Hello, everyone.
Hello there. Hello, friend.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And to those in the chat who don't know, this is actually my first ever live stream appearance ever.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Nice.
And
Thank you. Yeah.
Busting your cherry on Brown's channel, huh?
I think it was more
exactly.
entirely Brown. Brown is very good at taking the virginity of nascent streamers, so it's
Yeah.
you know,
That's
it's
true.
his private life as well.
Lord, it's been a while. If I may. You're welcome. It's been a while.
Yeah, so Mr. Brown is
Still
out
never
here
recovered.
taking my live stream virginity, and I'd say that it started out pretty well. You know, we went soft at first, then after everyone else came in, and it got a bit rough. But you know what? I think I'm happy, and we'll see where the night takes us.
Good man. How's the channel going? You're doing really well at the moment.
Yeah, it's going very, very well right now. I'm very happy.
Do you want to say hello, chat?
Hello, chat.
Let's see. Here we go. There's some comments here. Bear with me. Here you go. Another one who's been on. Romeo, Tango, November Zulu. Well done at the Uninspired Reviewer.
Thank you, RTNZ.
Actually, Andrew, he took mine too.
Oh,
I am the Schofield of YouTube.
Pimp.
So you are good, my friend. Looking forward to this, yes?
oh yeah, 100%. I've been patiently lurking in the chat, but yeah, it's great to be on. Great to have been invited on. Thank you.
Genuinely great to have you on, my friend. Shall we get the next body out?
Yes, we shall.
Okay. And last, it's been promoted, everybody. And last, but by no means least, from a VPN far, far away, it is the golden reach around droid of choice. You know it is. It's C3PO.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Brown. How is everybody this evening?
All the best for seeing you, my protocol droid friend.
What a very handsome lineup we have.
So diverse.
I know.
You've got a toxic white male. That's me. Lord, what do you class yourself as?
I'm a cartoon.
Okay. Matt Cat.
Well, I'm the prettiest girl in the world.
Rennie, what are you? Well, we know what you are, but Rennie?
I am a I
Married.
am a toxic female and the queen. So I'm bringing the royal representation.
Hail.
Representation. Uninspired reviewer, what are you?
I'm a uninspired black cat. There we go.
And
Right on.
C?
And I have the shiniest goldenrod in the universe.
Yes. So you are well, Z, my friend. It's really, really great to have you on, mate.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy
and
the
look forward
promotion. Because
to,
obviously Mega Geek's not here.
This week's.
He's busy working, as it were. I think he's doing his
Damn
Rebecca
it.
goal, but
Who am I going to have really long arguments with now on this stream? I have to pick somebody else. It's
Rennie's
always the
good
chat.
for
If I argue
arguing.
with chat,
Yeah,
it could
yeah.
be fun.
I
yeah,
love
they
to
were
argue,
arguing
so.
with you last week. Yeah. Okay, so let me get my screen graphics on if I've done my job properly. Hey, I will say hello, chats. We can see you. So, end of week musings.
I
Sunday,
like the
June
pride
4th.
background you've got there.
Well, it's not actually. It's not actually. Episode. See if anybody can guess this. Episode 147. Can anybody see the connection?
No.
A Star Trek reference, I'm guessing.
No. See, come on. Come on. You can get this.
I can't.
I can't. Okay, 147. Yes, here you go. Jim D, snooker. There you go.
Oh, I see.
What?
I don't get it.
I don't know what's snooker. I'm confused.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Snooker is
See-
like pool for people who are even more boring than people who play pool.
It's
Okay,
just
Bert,
pool with
thanks.
extra rules.
See, everybody knows. Look, this is quality. This is a quality chat. Looks Franco, snooker. Yeah. Punchball, snooker, Caranatos.
The only time I've ever watched snooker and enjoyed it, I was absolutely high, and so was everybody else, and it became really, really fascinating. But it sent everyone to sleep though, as it reliably does, sober or otherwise.
Well, the connection is, if you look at the colours from left to right, there's yellow, green, brown, blue. There's a pink behind his head, and there's a black. So it's not. It's the colours of snooker.
I just thought it's Pride Month.
Yeah, I thought
that's
it
what
was
Yeah.
Pride Month too.
Same. You should have just gone with Pride Month. It would
I
have been
was gonna say,
Okay,
yeah.
credit score.
Okay, so I'm doing my bit for Pride Month, everybody.
Just boosting that ESG score up again.
Here you
Diverse.
go.
Happy
in-
Pride.
Pride
in
Month
the
celebrations.
chat, Dark Side Bob, Pride, yes.
Yes, happy Pride.
Yes. Okay. Rock on. Pride Month. Love it. Okay. Should we move on? If you've made it this far and you're enjoying whatever this is, please like, share, subscribe. Every single click will help this channel grow. And if you're feeling generous, there are links in the description. Okay, so first up was the finale of Barret. Rennie, did you watch this?
I sure did. Can I ask you a question?
Should we say spoilers first?
Yeah, chat always going to be spoilers on this
Spoilers
channel.
on
Never
this
a
one,
surprise,
folks.
but yes, spoilers. What did you think? Did you feel like this was a satisfying ending? Did it wrap everything up like you thought it should?
No.
I agree. So, like, I just, I don't understand the whole back and forth with Fuchs. I don't understand the mentality behind that. I don't understand, you know, why Gene got screwed so hard at the end, or why he screwed himself, because I thought he was going to kill himself and he actually shot Barry instead. And Barry's lot in life was to die because he was irredeemable, right? So we knew he was going to die, or he should have died. But for Gene to get put away for his girlfriend's murder that he didn't murder, and to have Barry's murder on top
Yeah,
of
it was
that as
obvious. Yeah,
well.
yeah, it was obvious. Yeah.
It was awful. So I felt kind of bad for the man, even though he was a bit of a narcissist. I don't think he deserved to have all that happen to him.
Agreed.
But and then at the same time, you've got Sally and, little Barry or John that, she's unfit to be a mother. So this kid is going to be stuck with an unfit mother because she doesn't, remember he would go to her for comfort and she couldn't even hug him or hold him like a mother would, right? Or comfort him. And as it is, she drugged him on the previous show.
God, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, what kind of parent does that to their child, right? I mean, you've heard the old adage of some old school parents putting like rum on their baby's gums when they were teething,
Rum on the gum.
but you never hear about like parents really just like, spiking their kids' drink to make them pass out. So that was awful. So I really feel for that kid. I didn't understand the whole Fuchs releasing him back to Barry. I
Yeah,
thought
I did.
like because Fuchs was going after Barry, then it's like, oh no, just kidding. Like it was a back and forth with Fuchs all the time, and you never knew where he stood, and that was frustrating for me.
Yeah, he was in denial about how he felt for Barry, and when he saw his son, he realised the father-son thing, which is why I let him go. So
Okay.
Fuchs, as far as I'm concerned, that was the only thing what was done well on the program.
Like I will say, the only character that I semi-liked was like NoHo Hank. I thought it was sad that he died because you know what, he had a bout of consciousness or a little bit of conscience kick in, and he's like, you know what, I'm not giving the kid to you. No, deal's off. And he was going to protect Barry's son. I thought that was great. And then it's sad the way he died, but it was sweet because he died basically holding Cristobal's hand. So I thought that was cute.
I'll just say before we move on, I just felt it was rushed.
Yeah. It was
very, very rushed. It was a Breaking Bad vibe. You know how they just kind of rushed the last few episodes?
It's kind of like, Game of Thrones, right? Where it goes from like, just kind of a slow burn to like rushed. And then it's like, well, I don't really feel like everything was wrapped up the way it could have been. So I don't know. I'm glad that, Barry's end was what it should have been. But at the same time, it's like there was so much more to wrap up than just his story.
Yeah, I think there could have been another season of 6 episodes or 8 episodes if it was written well, but it just felt rushed at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And this season, like I was telling you, just it had such a wannabe surreal vibe to it. Like, when I was looking at a lot of comments, a lot of people said what I had said on the last couple of streams that we were talking about it, where it gave off a very David Lynch like / Twin Peaks vibe. And it's like, that's not what this show was meant to do. So I don't understand what the whole idea was for this.
Okay. We're getting bogged down, so.
I know. Bogging up.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought it was one of the best programs you're not watching. I'm not so sure now. Anyway, no more Barry. Everybody, it's finished. Shall we move on? Yes.
Do it.
Superman and Lois. Z, this is you, I feel, and Matty. But Z, do you want to go first?
I loved this episode. It was absolutely great, wasn't it?
It was great.
It was. Bruno Mannheim synthesizes a cancer cure from the negative Superman.
Spoilers,
blood.
everybody. By the way, sorry, spoilers.
And administers the cure. Mateo administers it to his mum. She goes full on dark side after confiding in Lois that they've set up Lex Luthor to put him in prison. And then at the end, Carl confronting Clark, and he's forced to reveal himself. Oh my God. So exciting. Yay. Good on. But we've only got 3 episodes left, and then the finish.
I know.
It's finished on the CW. We can only hope that season 4 is picked up by HBO.
James Gunn, HBO, are you listening? Please renew this. We need this renewing. It is the best thing coming out of DC for the past 10 years. Catty, over to you.
Oh, I agree with Z. I loved this episode. I thought it was very good. I feel like I was a little bit harsh on the cancer storyline, but I really feel like because most stories they do a storyline like the cancer storyline, but they wrap it up in 2 episodes. And I feel like now that they've wrapped up the cancer storyline, that I feel like they gave it its proper due that most shows don't give to storylines like that. So I feel like maybe I was a little bit too harsh on that portion of the program, but at the same time, this show is fantastic. Oh my goodness! Like I was so like at the end of this episode, like Z said, when he revealed himself to Kyle, I was like, oh no, he didn't, girl, and everything. So I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm really excited for it. This show is fantastic, and it better get picked up because James Gunn said that he's like, oh, people like it, so we're gonna do like 1 or 2 more seasons. And I'm like, you better do it, or me and you, I'm gonna tweet you every day, and I'm not gonna stop until you redo this show again.
Blocked.
Yeah, until I get blocked. Exactly. But I love the show very much. It's very, very good.
We've not yet had a Lex Luthor in this show, and I could not wait to see him.
Right, and I love how Pia was all like, Lex Luthor is he's better in you don't want a Lex Luthor not in jail. You do not
he's
want
better
him
off in jail.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if we set him up or not. He's better off in jail.
Yeah, and I hate that Lois is all like, no, we sent an innocent man to jail, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm pretty sure Lex Luthor's guilty of other things.
Yeah,
like,
it's Lex Luthor. Just leave him there. Go on.
Exactly. So, but he'll definitely, because they did cast him, so we'll definitely see him at some point in time. And I did read that. They are going to end it on a cliffhanger this season, even if they don't get renewed. So a small piece of me hopes they don't do it like he's the last scene of the last episode, because I'm like, I would like to see him just a little bit more than just one scene. But at the same time, I trust them to do a good job with this show.
Definitely.
Here you go, folks. Channel favourites. Velma Dinklage in the chat. R.I.P. Calculex.
Velma, I love your thumbnail. It makes me so happy. It makes me so happy.
Is anybody else watching this on the panel?
I'm in Avatar.
No, I've never even seen an episode.
Oh, you're missing out.
No.
Me no like a fugly Superman.
Oh, you are. He is not fugly. That man is so attractive.
I have met him in person, Matt Cat. He really is.
That man is. What are you
person.
talking about? That man is so attractive. It is ridiculous.
Tyler,
The only thing that I don't like is he's got this tooth. I think it's a bicuspid. It like sticks out a little bit, and I'm like, you need to get that fixed because I don't like it. But that man is so hot. He is so. I'm sorry. He is. There's nothing ugly about that man. He is so good looking. It's ridiculous.
He needs to shave. If he's Superman, he needs to shave.
Yeah, but I'm not really like. I mean, I agree with you, but that's not something that kills it for me. But yeah, no.
So Z. One sentence for James Gunn why he should renew this.
Because it's superb. Just superb. It's brilliant. Love it.
Catty?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's such a good show. I think the writing is very good for a TV show. I think that they really do balance out the action and the the more emotional sides of the show. And it better get at least one more season. At least one more season.
He deserves it.
It does deserve it.
Oi, Gunn, are you listening? This is the best thing on TV at the moment. Get it renewed. Best thing out of DC for 10 years. Get it renewed. Get it on HBO. They will come. That's all I can say. Great program.
Yes, we will.
Yes. You were. Okay. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Best program you're not watching, everybody. Super Lois. Check it out. Oh, yes. We're coming in hot. Because literally we're coming in hot.
Speaking of hot, look at
nothing
Lord.
To watch.
I know.
There's nothing to watch, folks.
He needs like a weekend update, kind of like, from Saturday Night Live, one of those like little jingles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lord Chord's news round at the Little Platoon. That's you, isn't it, Lord? Little
It
Platoon.
is, yes.
It is. Okay. Shall we see what's on the menu?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's proceed.
Yes.
Following on from last week's Japanese poster of The Flash, I saw this, which is the Spiderverse. Who has seen? This was out this weekend. Who's seen?
I
saw
seen
it.
it twice.
Uninspired, do you want to go first then?
Yeah, sure. I've seen it twice
Thoughts? Yeah.
already. I'm going again tomorrow, and
What?
I love it.
Wow.
I mean, I loved it so much.
For what
Yeah.
reasons? Are we going to
Uh,
say we'll try and keep the spoilers to a minimum if
all right.
possible, if that's
Okay.
okay.
I just think it's a really good story. For me, it's Miles Morales' Spider-Man 2, basically. Beaten physically and emotionally to the point where you're just you just feel for him in ways that you haven't in ways that you didn't in the first film. And I just loved it so much. Yeah, actually Andrew is right. It is magnificent.
It is magnificent.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to watch it a third time, so yeah.
I mean, to each their own, but like Peter Parker is the only Spider-Man for me. I don't know.
I get that argument,
already.
but this is a parallel universe Spider-Man, so
No, I understand. It's
it's-
just
Here you go, folks. Happy on. He liked it as well.
Yeah, but I think they do a lot to differentiate Miles Morales from Peter Parker, which is why people like the movie a lot, especially the first one.
Yeah,
And
the
it's
first
well
one was
written.
really good. Yeah.
yeah. Is there anything you didn't like? Sorry, Platoon, you go ahead.
Well, no, it's just because I've not seen either of these, but I have sort of semi-heard some of the discourse around it. And, the people reliably tweeting Miles Morales and Spider-Man, Peter Parker is Peter Parker, and all the rest of that fun stuff. So there was one interesting observation I heard from someone, I can't even remember who it was, someone on Twitter suggested that maybe you're looking at, in sort of 10, 15, 20 years' time, Miles Morales will be Spider-Man, because this is the character that the current generation is growing up with. And yeah, he comes up under Peter Parker in, I think, both of these
enough.
films, or at least in one of them. But, he's still the person who's kind of front and center of this franchise. I don't know what you make of that. I mean, I've not seen either of these, so I don't know how accurate that is, but...
I don't know. I actually think that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'd actually think that. Well, it's his franchise for now. Plus, it's staying animated unless they do a live-action version. But for me, the live-action Spider-Man will probably always be Peter Parker, as long as there's a very distinct difference between Miles Morales and Peter Parker. I think that it could be good. But if they start making him a carbon copy like they do in the comic books, so I've heard, then I think that we're gonna have a big problem.
Right on. I agree with that. So the people that have seen it, was there anything that you disliked about the movie? Because I do have some things that I didn't like about it, but it didn't make me hate the movie. Like, for instance, I thought it was very, like, it was very busy in terms of what was going on, because at some point in time I was like, all right, can we just calm it down for 2 seconds, because I'm being raped in the eyeballs by so much visuals here. And I need it to calm
graped,
down.
everybody.
It's
Graped.
graped. Sorry, that's what I said. I said graped. I was talking about fruit.
Graped.
Because because they kept glitching too much, and I was like, the glitching is starting to get a little bit annoying. And I was like, can we stop glitching, please, for 2 seconds, so I can just calm it down? I took both my kids, and real quick, not to diss on you people across the pond, but Spider-Punk, half the time I couldn't understand what he was saying. His accent is so thick that I'm all like, what? I asked my 7-year-old, I was like, what did he say? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, yeah, me neither. I'm like, are we missing out on plot here? Because he's saying words, and that accent is, what accent is that, by the way? It's so thick. It's like ridiculously
I don't know,
thick.
but I mean, this is the response I have to everyone who lives north of the M25, so I kind of
Easy.
sympathise with you. I don't know what accent he's supposed to have. I've not heard him. Is he Cockney? Is he?
Yeah, Cockney.
Oh yeah, it was.
Oh, no wonder.
It was
That's a
so.
hard accent.
Oh man, I was like, and I don't get me wrong, I did like the character, but at the same time, I was just like, I think I did. What did he say? But yeah, and then I also it was too long, in my opinion. Like, towards the end, I was like, man, we could have wrapped this up maybe 20 minutes ago.
How long was it?
Well, I think it was two something. I just felt like
For a
towards
cartoon? Wow.
yeah, for towards the end, I was like, we really could have taken out some of the things in here. But I mean, at the same time, again, this didn't make me hate it at all. I also thought they focused a little too much on Gwen, Spider-Gwen. Like, at the beginning, I was like, I honestly thought they were going to do it through the perspective of Gwen Stacy the whole movie. And I was like, I'm not going to like this at all. I didn't come for this movie. And then they did change it up. But I did think they focused on her a tiny bit too much. And then I also didn't. I know it's comic book accurate because they did it in the comic books, but are they just going to keep adding powers onto Miles Morales? Because I don't like that. I'm like, it's fine, but at the same time, I just go, is he going to have a new power the next movie? I apologize if you can hear my children in the background. They are acting wild right now. But yeah, it's just these tiny that I'm nitpicking now, but there's just these tiny things that I didn't like. But overall, I liked it. The voice acting was great. I loved them. Everybody in this. Shamik Morris does a great job as Miles Morales. I love that. Haley Steinfeld, and then Oscar Isaac as Miguel did such a great job. It was great. I really loved it. And the animation, but my last thing, and then I'm done. I promise, I'm done. The animation.
Take your time, mate. You take your time.
I really did love this movie. The animation, I do like this animation, but only with this movie. Whenever they do it in another movie, I'm like, I don't really dig this type of animation, but except for this movie. But yeah, overall, I really liked it a lot. I wish I had the time on Inspired to see it more than once, but I don't have the time nor the funds to see a movie a million times at the box office. So yeah, that's my story. All right, I'm done. You continue now.
Well, yeah, but it's weird because you said that they added powers, but I don't really think that they did. The powers that he had were the same ones that he had in the first movie.
Did he shoot the little shockwaves in the first movie? I thought,
yeah.
Did he? Oh, see, I don't remember that. I haven't seen the first movie since I saw the first movie the first time, which was in theaters. But yeah, no, okay, then I take it back. Them adding powers is fine then, because they didn't.
I do get the complaint though about the power proliferation thing. Tom Holland Spider-Man had this problem. Ow. Tom Holland Spider-Man had this problem as well. When he had Tony Stark sort of giving him his nano suit all the time. And so, there's another new thing that his suit can do. There's another new thing his suit can do. His suit can do everything. And it does slightly detract from the stakes of any action sequence because you can't ever reliably say that I know what the power set truly is. So not having seen this one, I don't know, obviously, what that's like. But I get the complaint if he is seen to have too many powers. The other question I had, while someone is apparently running a bar for themselves, is obviously this is very successful, and the current MCU is not. This is a multiverse. The MCU has a multiverse. If this is so successful, is there any prospect, you think, that they might try and integrate a Miles Morales into it at some point?
Well,
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, without going into spoilers, there's a bit of, touch and go on the multiverse MCU, etc. But I think they do a live action movie, but I don't think that they try and attach it to this one, because when you watch this movie, you feel like the people behind it had a clear vision for what they wanted for the trilogy, and I don't think that they would bring this Miles Morales into live action. If they do
somebody in the chat said they're
live
actually making a live.
They
You
are.
read? Yeah,
They
I
are.
saw it this week on the Twitter. Yeah, they're going to make a live action one.
But I don't think that they'd bring this specific Miles Morales into it.
I agree. I
don't
agree
think
with
they
that.
need to, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if they do,
It's a cash grab.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I also, I can't. I don't know how to talk about it without giving away spoilers. I do think that there will be a Miles Morales in the MCU that will not be this Miles Morales.
Yep.
And I can't tell you why I think that, because I will give away a spoiler, and I don't want to do that. But I just do. I do think they will.
If I may, shall I? The reason why this is going to be successful is this from Johnny Lawrence's mum. Sony made it.
Well,
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sony made Morbius too, so
Yeah, they made Morbius, Venom. They've got the whole Venomverse thing going on. So they have this really weird track record where they do this one really, really good thing, and then they do 5 or 6 really, really shit things. But everyone forgets that it was Sony who did those. So everyone says, well, it's good because it's Sony and not Marvel. And then the response is, okay, but what else has Sony done?
That's so true.
Not
'cause-
quite up to this level.
Yeah, because they have Craven coming out, and then they have Madam Web, and I'm like, those are flops already. So that's so funny that you say that, because it's so true.
I can confirm, I found one person, only one so far, but one is a start. One person who popped up in my comment section who liked Morbius and was really very salty that I said that nobody liked Morbius because he says
Wasn't
he liked
Schofield,
it.
was it?
To which my response is, well, you're a nobody, so my point still stands. But, I mean, those people are still out there.
Right.
That was my stooge account. Cheers.
Can I can how did you uninspired reviewer, how did you feel about the ending without saying anything?
No spoilers.
I feel like we ended before a third act was supposed to start. There we go. So
I felt like it was clever, but also at the same time it was abrupt. Like I was just like, okay.
Appion said he needed another 30 minutes.
I could have used another 2 hours, honestly.
Oh man, see, because at the end of it, I was just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it really is good.
I really enjoyed the first one, but is it really that good? I think I might need to go watch this.
Honestly, I'd say go watch it.
Yeah, I would too. I'd say go watch it. It's worth going to the theater to watch it. Like I had a good time. My kids had a good time. It was my daughter did get scared at one point in time, which I was, it's fine because there were some things she did not like the dot, but I felt like the dot was such a good storyline there. I thought that was really this is a really good movie. I thought it was clever. It was very well written, and I enjoyed it immensely.
Z, you going to go watch this?
I'm going to see it tomorrow. I was a big fan of the first movie. It's one of my top 3 Spider-Man films. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm going to go and watch it tomorrow.
Good. And I think I'm sorry. I keep saying this is my last thing. I think this also. I'm sorry. I have
PS and PPS.
Yes, I have diarrhea of the mouth. It's. I've got the gift of gab. I get it from my mother.
Who's got that?
But I think that this also speaks to the fact that people, the fact that this made so much money at the box office opening weekend, that this speaks to the fact that people really do enjoy original people of color characters. You don't have to race bend characters. If you create an original person of color character, people will go see it. And I think that this movie speaks a lot to that.
Rennie, would you be open to going to see this, your type of thing, or?
Not so much really. For one, it doesn't really flow with the other Spider-Man movies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And two, it's like, so it's another universe, but then there's a bunch of parallel universes within that universe, and it's a cartoon. I'm not really big into cartoons unless it's like South Park or so probably will not.
Here you go. Question for me. Discussed in film at Miss Brown likes to speak. Isn't the Spider movie only the first part of 2?
Yes.
Yeah. Next part is coming out on the 29th of March next year.
Yeah. What is that one called?
Beyond the Spiderverse, yeah.
There we go.
Wow.
So I honestly can't wait. I'm really impatient.
Yeah, the ending was really clever. I'm quite excited to see where they go from there.
So you two guys recommending this, yes?
Absolutely.
100%. 100%.
Okay. There you go, folks. Spider-Verse recommended. Should we move on?
Just quickly, before we do move
on.
Because we haven't moved on. No. We haven't moved on. We're still discussing the same damn topics.
We're sidestepping.
Switching the side. I don't care. I haven't followed this thing very closely. Am I right in thinking that the Marvel What If comics have started using Miles Morales as just like, well, what if Thor was black? And so while there is value in having this character as a unique character, a new character, and this is, yes, you're right, this is definitely what you should do if you want to have more black characters on screen. The minute you hand it over to someone like Marvel Comics or, heaven forbid, Marvel Studios, are they really going to carry on being an individual character, or are they going to say like, hey, look, it's the black kid. He obviously supports Black Lives Matter, for example. He can rap. That's a thing that black people do, I'm told. So like, I fear that he would be completely neutered if he ever did cross over into a different universe, so to speak.
I just think it depends on the writers, to be honest, because here it's well written, and honestly, if he goes to Disney, I think he'll be fucked either way.
Yep.
And that bombshell.
The either way is doing a lot of work in that sentence. You can take that.
On that bombshell, we will step to the side. Okay, so it's going to make about $120 million in its domestic opening weekend, which is pretty good, isn't it, for a cartoon?
Yep.
Yeah, it is good.
Really good.
I think that's probably the American. I don't know what the international.
So right now it's at 120 million domestic and 88 million international for a total of 208 million.
On its first weekend.
Yep.
Wow.
How does that compare with, I don't know, like The Little Mermaid, as just a counterexample?
It's just made 300, I think.
Yeah, 360, I think.
But it has had a
Yeah.
week, hasn't it? I suppose as a
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
I don't think people want to see Disney anyway. People are interested in this, aren't they? So, may I do some super chats?
Do it. Do it.
Yep.
Okay.
Do it.
Dark Hour, $2. Brown thumbnail scared me. Thought Mr. Bean had died. No.
So did I. Whenever you
I literally
list a
looked it
random
up.
actor who I don't know the story behind, I just assume that he's dead. So,
Yeah, I literally looked it up because I was like, oh God, did he die? No.
Well, he was trending yesterday, you see, so I had to.
Right on.
Matt I, or is it Matt 1? For $5. The Matt Cat is 100% correct about Superman.
Yes, I am.
Matt Cat is really cute as well. He is.
Well, thank you, Matt.
looky there.
Look at that. Look, and who is? You're quite cute yourself, Matt. Look at you.
We got some man crushes going
Oh
on
my
here.
goodness, hex yeah.
Would you?
I am correct about Superman.
No, you're not.
Okay. Fiona M, $2. Funny how racism disappeared in a week. Disney.
Right, right.
It did.
Amazing, hasn't it? Romeo Tango November Zulu for 11 NZ dollars. Hail Brown chart and panel, especially uninspired reviewer making his
Cheers, mate.
debut appearance. Great to be able to listen in live today as it's the King's birthday down here. Most fun community on YouTube. Cheers.
I agree.
Aw.
This is the best.
Yes.
Thank you,
That's
Archie and
awesome.
Zed.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's a good point about the racism thing, though. I'm annoyed, actually, because I might have listened to that Little Mermaid thing. Because, no, it genuinely is a good point. You know,
It is a
all
good
of this
point.
In the same week as we're being told
Double
that one of
standards.
these films is performing as it is because there are so many racists all over the place, you get this other thing, which is prominently featuring a black lead character, and nobody
Yeah.
seems to give a shit about that.
Right?
Yeah. I'm also quite salty about that, though, because I addressed the casting thing in the Little Mermaid video, and the sponsor I had attached to it pulled out for a number of reasons, one of which was that they felt that it was too controversial. And I pointed out in response that I'm telling people in that segment not to be racist. So if that's too controversial for you, nameless company for legal reasons, then just don't come back at all. The rest of the list was hilarious, though. I really want to share the list. I might find an excuse to do that at some point. That was good.
Really?
fun.
They bailed.
Well, just so you know, I know what company it is, and I will never buy from them again. I will tell
Wow.
them, stop sending me flyers.
I will say on the Twattersphere this week, there's been lots of double standard stories. Racism is a lot of what's been going on, and kind of things like that, and things about women, and what they're doing to them. And I just thought, no, it's just so much double standards. It's just been in overdrive this week. But anyway, should we move on?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Well, it's kind of more of a
This
sidestep.
isn't moving on at all.
Oh no, we're getting bogged down.
Across the Spiderverse is the highest rated superhero film on Internet Movie Database with 9.1 out of 10.
It deserves it.
I mean, the movie's good, but it's not that good.
I mean, this is the thing. It's really good though. Like I would give this a movie a solid 9, an 8, 8.5, 9.
Yeah, but I mean, putting it on 9.1 means that it's higher than The Dark Knight. So
Yeah,
I mean,
I would
right on.
not.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I think that goes to like whenever the new movie comes out and it's really good, everybody just flocks to these new websites and gives it a positive review.
Yeah, the review bombers haven't got to this one yet.
No.
I'm sure it will.
Right.
It'll go down
Is
to
it
the-
because people are genuinely pleased with some good entertainment?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a tiny bit of messaging in this one, but it's so minuscule that it doesn't even matter. But I mean, but the movie is really good. I mean, if you go and see it and you don't like it, I think that, I mean, that you have a character flaw if you don't like it.
So what you're saying is you're right.
Yeah,
And everybody else is wrong.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I think Matt would agree with me on here, and he's going to send a super chat any minute now, agreeing with me.
Speaking of super chats, here you go. Jalen ET for $2. I never send super chats, but hey, uninspired.
Thank you, Jalen.
Nice.
Thanks for stopping by, man. He's a very close friend of mine.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I assume
That's
you
great.
know him.
Yes.
Okay.
I tried to send super chats, but my phone doesn't let me. It takes the money, and then it says there's been an error, and they couldn't.
Oh my god, I've had that happen before too. It's so
Somewhere
annoying.
around there's like 300 or 400 quid's worth of super chats just floating around in the ether from a year's worth of attempted contributions.
I think it's a mobile thing because I used to have that issue when I would send them on my mobile as well. It's like half the time they would go through, other half of the time it'd be stuck in like super chat purgatory or something. So
Strange. Okay. So, as I said, it seems to me that everybody's enjoying this. Everybody's eager to do some marks, positive
yeah.
marks. Lord, are you going to go see this, do you think?
If I have time. Because theoretically, once I've got some game writing stuff out of the way, I will have a couple of days before The Flash comes out. So I might be able to go and see it, but I can't guarantee it at this point.
see, that's my other thing. You've got Transformers coming out and then The Flash. Where am I
Yeah.
going
I'm
to
not
find
saying
time to watch this?
Transformers is
That's
shit.
robots, by the
Yeah.
way.
I know.
Robots.
It's going to be dumb. It's going to be cheesy. But you know what? The real Optimus Prime is still voicing the real Optimus Prime. So that's why I have to kind of go see it. But
Yeah, my son is so excited for Transformers. There's no way I'm getting out of seeing that movie.
And like Peter Cullen, the guy that voices Optimus Prime, loves his fans. And that's a big reason why he is doing this movie. I think he's like 70. He's pretty up there. So
Wow.
the fact that he can still do the voice,
Yep.
more power to him, man.
Look who's here, everybody. We are honored, robot.
Is he talking about
hello.
Spider-Verse? Is Robot Head? Are you talking about Spider-Verse? Garbage.
Probably Transformers.
Oh, Transformers.
Probably talking
be.
about Last Jedi, probably.
Well, it can't be Transformers because that's in the past tense, and Transformers isn't out yet. So,
Oh, yeah.
typically the trans people are coming out during Pride.
Happy Pride.
Yeah, wouldn't they? Shouldn't they have put the film out on the 1st of June?
I mean, maybe, but wasn't that like during the week? Wasn't that on like a? Oh, but
It's
did
first
they?
Oh,
day
he
of
is,
Pride Month, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
He is talking about Spider-Man.
Oh man, don't talk. No.
Yeah, more power to you,
No,
Robot Head.
no.
I mean, listen. I understand if you didn't like it because there are
listen.
things, but listen. There are things not to like about the movie, but garbage is not the right word. But to his own, you have your own opinion. I'm not gonna crap on you for your own opinion. I just disagree.
He's a robot, though. Appion
That
for
is true.
$2 super chat. Cheers, Appion.
Man, you thought it was garbage? I'm like blown by that. I'm blown by that. You're the only person I know that didn't like it 100%. Like,
I kind of want to go and see it now just to see whether in fact it is. But
Here you go. Yeah, Spider-Man.
yeah.
Man, bummer. Robot Head, I love your stuff though.
Maybe I'll try and cram both in the same day. I'm sure I can fit Miles Morales and The Flash in the next time we go to the cinema.
That's what she
Got
said.
plenty of room for both.
Not too long for the Flash. I can't wait.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, anybody have any spoilers on the Flash?
Okay, let's. I will say, Robot Head, if you want to do us the honor of joining us one Sunday,
Oh, that would be fun.
it'd be
Yeah.
absolutely a blast. having
These people
on
will
for
put you
this.
on trial for your opinion about the Spider-Man films.
Yes.
I will not. I will not. I just would ask him why.
Okay, should we move on then? I think we're moving
Yeah,
on.
we're
Probably
getting
not.
like bogged down.
We're
in, like,
seriously bogged down.
Spider-Man.
Are we bogged
Oh
down?
my
Yes, we're
God.
Okay, so cinema score A, everybody's liking it. A stands for ass, apparently.
At this point, Brown, I've got to ask how much Sony is paying you.
Yeah, exactly. Are you
Dear
a Sony
Sony,
shill now, Brown?
Well,
I do trust CinemaScore though. They ask people. I mean, CinemaScore is better than Rotten Tomatoes or anything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I will say, Sony, if you want to send some money this way, I'll gladly accept it.
Don't you have to downrate? Movie Cynic's good on this point because I don't follow this kind of thing, but if I'm paraphrasing him correctly, you have to sort of downrate CinemaScore because CinemaScore, as I understand it, goes to people who've just gone to see the film and ask them for their opinion on it. It's selection bias that comes into it. Obviously, the people who go to see it on opening day are people who are more likely than not to like the thing. So you have to sort of weight it against people's propensity to give the affirmative score.
Yeah, you're right on that. I agree with that.
Franco's saying we're getting really, but we're stuck, aren't we? Basically, here you go,
Sorry,
Jim D.
buddy.
Obviously not the China poster, yeah.
And obviously not.
Is he blue in the China poster?
Probably.
Yeah, wasn't the Little Mermaid wasn't she?
Yeah.
Blue, yeah. Speaking of blue, movie cynic, Robot Head doesn't like the Spider-Verse. Confirmed.
Confirmed. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Are we actually doing it though?
Yeah, like,
are you
are
just
we
cocky?
seriously like moving on? Or are we bogging back down?
Oh, we'll just do the super chat. Chat's moving up so quickly. Sorry. MGUK84 for 250 Californian woke dollars. Strong currency there, woke dollars. Thanks for the coverage. Your friend, Sony.
Oh, that's the best super chat.
That is funny. That's good.
The best super chat.
Moving on.
Holy shit, we have.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Some people said this wasn't going to make any money.
Did
Super Mario.
Yeah, they did, and it's. I'm glad that they proved people wrong.
Apparently, pineapple has been eaten on pizza as well.
Pineapple on pizza is delicious.
Which I don't have a problem with, but it's not my go-to. But
Pineapple on pizza is great.
Yeah, it's so good.
Bunch of weirdos.
cheese and pineapple, it's a great combination.
No, cheese, ham, and pineapple.
Yeah,
Go
it's
for the
great.
classic
Yeah.
It's a good combination. I
It's
agree.
so good, so good.
It's delicious.
Has everybody seen Super Mario?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
No, I can't watch wrong voice Mario. Chris Pratt.
It's
I
me,
just
Mario.
No, it doesn't fit for
What?
me.
No, it was great.
Weird.
It was great. You should see it.
Vinny's
You
a
would like it.
purist, you see, like me.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, it was. Go ahead.
No, sorry. I grew up with a lot of the Mario games, and I loved like all the Super Mario games. And I met Charles Martinet, the guy that actually voices Mario in the video games. And it was really cool hearing him like, say like a bunch of stuff like in person. And he does like Mario, Wario, Luigi, Baby Mario, all of that. And so I don't know. I just can't watch something where it's a different voice. It's just weird. It's like the weird voiced Muppets. Even though Jim Henson's been dead for a while, like sometimes you watch a Muppet movie, like a recent one, and Kermit that sounds all jacked up. It's like,
Purist.
I can't do it. Yeah,
Jacked up Kermit.
that's right.
Right, here you go, folks. I'm going to try and read this. Fiona M for $2. Konnichiwa, Deri Kugiwa
Deru Kugi wa Utareru, I think.
Robot Head. Thank you, Lord. I do believe there's another super chat as well. There you go. Bank of Hostman for $5. The movie is better than Logan, The Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2, and Into the Spider-Verse. Press X to doubt. Also, hail uninspired.
Hail to you, Hostman.
That's a pretty tall order to say it's better than all of these movies. I don't know about that.
Yeah, even me, I praise the movie, but I really no. It's nah.
Well, if Spider-Verse isn't better than those, the Mario film certainly isn't better than those. Because
sure.
it's pretty soulless, and it lacks much of a story. And I'm kind of with Rennie on the voice parts. I think the Italian dubbed actually found a voice actor who sounded a lot like Charles Martinet to do the voice for the Italian version, which you could have done with this one, except that this is the reason I never thought it wouldn't make money, is that absolutely everything about this film is designed to make money. The absence of plot, the complete absence of any kind of risk taking, the absence of anything remotely complicated in its story, and the fact that they signed on a bunch of very well-known people whose names will appear at the front of the credits, who will get people in seats no matter what, at the expense of the characters they're actually voicing, because very few of these people are very good voice actors, and Chris Pratt would probably be amongst those. So, I actually did not hate the film. Because I gave it a mid-review, everyone assumed that I did, because you're only allowed either to hate things or love things on the internet. There's no such thing as a thing that's just kind of... But I think, okay, fine, it's done incredibly well. I just hope that they develop this and they don't simply think, well, look, this is how easy it is to make loads of money, so we're going to do it again and again and again and again and again. Because I don't want a Zelda film to be as soulless and shallow and content-free as the Mario film, for example.
Do you, Lord, do you feel like they didn't have the confidence in this film at the beginning, so that's why they threw everything into it?
I don't think they didn't have the confidence in it. I mean, you wouldn't throw everything into something you don't have confidence in, because that's a huge dollar value attached to what would then be a risky proposition. I think they had a lot of confidence, but they made the film to have that confidence, as opposed to being willing to brook the possibility that it might fail. If they'd been a bit more daring with it, if they had actually tried to tell a story as opposed to simply put familiar things on the screen, you probably would have got a better film, but then there would have been a higher chance that failed. So you can understand why they did it. But no, I think it was always guaranteed to make a huge amount of money in this one. It's just the question is, what lessons do they learn from its success?
But Platoon, it's not woke. Yeah. It's not woke.
Oh, but it's not woke, so it must be good. Oh, I love that line of argument. Like the number of people in my comment section who say, well, at least it didn't hate me. And I think, well, holy shit, how low are your standards?
I agree with everything you just said, except I just go well, first off, Zelda is completely different. I think that Zelda has way more of a better storyline than Mario did in the games. I think that Mario in the games really didn't have that big of a storyline. It wasn't complex. It was Bowser trying to get Peach to marry him / love him, and then you as Mario had to go save her from Bowser. And I think that was just basically the storyline forever.
True, but it is an adaptation as opposed to, well, it should have been an adaptation as opposed to simply replicating what the games have already given us. In the Zelda games, Link doesn't speak, but you would expect Link to speak in any film version because the film is adapting source material.
There you go. Question.
That's true.
I agree with that. That is true.
Question from Theodore for you, Lord. If they make a Zelda film, do you think Link will speak?
I suspect so, yeah. It would be very hard to think... Well, if they played it this safe with the Mario film, I don't think they would take... Because it would be a risk having a protagonist in a film who doesn't speak. From their perspective, certainly. I think it has been done once or twice before, but not very often, because it's a very rare and artsy thing to do. So yeah, I would be very surprised if they didn't have him speak, and speak quite a lot as well.
Okay. If Nintendo are obviously going to do a universe, which... if they've made over $1 billion, they've got the cash to do it now, which they probably had anyway. What should be the next Nintendo film? Z?
Legend of Zelda. I mean, I know everybody says, does Link speak? Does he not? Well, he doesn't in the games, but he did in the animated series back in 1989. So
that's true.
It's not like he's never spoken. It's not canonical.
Uninspired, what would you like to see next? Sorry, Z.
Honestly, I think Legend of Zelda would make the most money.
Rennie?
Duck Hunt. No, just kidding. It was one of the OG Nintendo games, but no, I think Legend of Zelda would make the most sense, to be honest. And I've, I grew up with those games as well, and I know everybody's like, oh, does Link speak? He's going to speak if he's in the movie. Otherwise, they're going to have to explain that he got his tongue cut out or something, to make sense of him not speaking.
Yep.
If they did
horrible.
it. Well, I'm just saying, otherwise, why wouldn't he talk, right?
Right.
Or they could say he's he's deaf, but, that would be dumb. That wouldn't make any sense.
What would you like to see?
Well, what I think would be the smartest move would be Zelda, but What I personally would like to see is Star Fox, just because
Same
I love that game growing up. I would play that game all the time. But I mean, in terms of like what I think would make more money, Zelda, hands down. I think that a lot of people really love that game, and I love that game too. So I think that would be really also a hit.
Lord, are you going Zelda or?
Literally everyone has said Zelda, so I'm really tempted to say Mr. Game & Watch or something. But no, it probably would be Zelda from their perspective. Also, Breath of the Wild onward has sort of led to a bit of a resurgence in Zelda's popularity. Not that it was ever unpopular, but it's now much, much more to the fore of people's sort of Nintendo awareness than it was in the days of, say, Twilight Princess or things like that. There's a huge amount of lore potential with that as well. There's a huge amount of story potential with it. It would be the logical one to do. My problem with the Mario film is in part that it did burn through a lot of potential for future films. I like the idea that you could have an NCU, which, in very vague, broad terms, mirrors the kind of structure of the MCU where you have these individual films and it culminates in some kind of crossover event like Smash Brothers. But the Mario film sort of burned through. Fun. Yeah, the Mario film burned through a lot of that. The Smash Brothers games actually have, well, at least Smash Brothers Brawl has one of these, and I think the most recent one does as well. It does have an overarching multiverse storyline to it, and I was rewatching a lot of the Brawl cutscene stuff to do the Mario review, and actually you could see how that would be turned into a fairly decent film. There's some quite good little dramatic moments in that, and it actually makes good use of all the characters. So in the ideal world, yeah, Zelda comes next, and they start telling proper stories, you get the multiversal crossover, and it pans out much like one of those old Smash Brothers games would have done. And actually, you could see it being really entertaining and dominating cinema for the next decade. However, because that would be a really good thing, it probably won't happen. So it will be Zelda, but it will end up being shit somehow.
Yeah, Marvel have dropped the ball, haven't they? So it's Nintendo's to pick up. Here you go, Bank of Hostman for $5. Correction, last super chat was in reference to Across the Spiderverse. I was on a time delay and didn't realize it. Watching on mobile. What does that mean?
Shaking my head.
Yeah. Come on, Brown.
Sorry.
Get with the cool kids.
I know.
I'm not cool. I'm not
In
cool.
the bin.
Sorry. Get in the bin. Here you go. Week 13 for £5. Here you go. That's real money, that is, folks. We love the Super Mario movie. It's way better than Malcolm X. And Carry On, Emmanuel.
Not touching that.
I want to see Tom Cruise as Malcolm X.
Yep.
I want to see that.
Ryan Gosling as Black Panther. There we go.
Yep. Okay. Shall we move on? So, excellent success from Super Mario. I think it's at 1.2 at the moment, 1.2 billion. So it's doing really, really well. So shall we move on?
Yep.
Who saw that? Well, it's flash time, folks. Sorry. Who saw this clip of Keaton saying, go to the cinema with your dad to see The Flash, because that's all he wants. All he wants to hear is me going, I'm Batman. Did anybody see this?
No.
Yeah, I did see
Batman.
it.
But we all still want to see it. Those of us that saw like the Batman 1 and 2 with him in it.
Mm-hmm.
Kat, are you excited?
Oh my god, I'm so excited! I'm excited for The Flash, like hardcore. It's gonna be a good time. I hope.
Here you go, folks. Jim D looks amazing. Is he 70?
Yeah,
he's old.
Yep.
Yeah, he looks good. Yeah, my son is really excited for this movie. Like, he loves The Flash, so he is quite excited.
Z, you looking forward to this?
Maybe.
Is it the cameos, the rumored cameos that are putting you off, or is it like Ezra Miller, or
I don't know. Something's just not sitting with me on this one. I think they've gone far too heavy in the member various region.
Are you excited to see Michael Keaton back as Batman?
Not especially.
No.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
What?
Oh my gosh.
No, I love him as Batman. I mean, You know, the original and Batman Returns are both excellent, excellent movies, and I love him as the Vulture in Spider-Man. But I don't know.
You just want to see Mark Hamill back as Luke Skywalker, don't you?
I never want to
Good
see
luck with
him
that.
in Jedi robes ever again. I don't know. There's something about this movie that excites me and repels me.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I clipped the little discussion we had last week and put it on. I uploaded it to YouTube, and the Miller thing is very. People are, it's putting them off.
Which I understand why, but at the same time, I just go, are we gonna start not seeing movies because people are dicks? Because if that's the case, then we're not gonna see a movie ever again. Like, if we can't start separating the art from the artist, we're never gonna have to be able to watch a movie again, ever. Because I'm sorry, actors are dickholes, and they're not regular human beings, and they've all done bad things. And if we can't go, hey, this person is a jerk in real life, but I really want to see this movie and it's a good movie, and then we are never going to be able to see entertainment again, like, ever.
Yeah, that's a fair call.
Okay, folks, Drew Gordon in the chat. I hope Supergirl kneels before Zod. I'd give her one.
She's pretty hot. I think she's hot. I don't like her haircut in this movie, but I mean, if you see her in real life, like her real hair, it's like a real haircut. She usually has longer hair. She's pretty hot.
I was going to say, she looks kind of androgynous in the trailers to me, but...
Yeah, I think they did that on purpose, which I wish they wouldn't have done that, but in real life, she has long hair, and she's very hot. In my opinion.
Uninspired, I take it. Will you be going to see The Flash?
Well, yeah, I will be going to see it, but
Are you looking forward to
question
it?
is, yeah, I don't really know because of the overwhelmingly positive reception around it. Considering Ezra Miller's stuff, it feels more like damage control rather than genuine praise for the film.
Yeah.
So, and plus the CGI looks horrendous.
Yeah, it does. And all the trailers are weighted towards Batman. It's like, don't look at Ezra Miller, look at Keaton instead.
Yeah.
And I've never actually liked him as the Flash at all. Irrespective of his personal life.
Tolerated
I just don't rate
him, if anything. Tolerated.
Yeah, I don't think he's a very good choice for the Flash at all.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that to some extent. I don't think that the Flash is a leading man, and I do wish they, I don't know how they would have got around not doing a Flash movie without having him being the lead man, but at the same, and they're leaning into Michael Keaton. I agree with you, but why not lead into Michael Keaton Batman? Batman is so popular, like, everybody loves Batman, and if you don't, you're a big weirdo. But why wouldn't you lean into? I would lean into that. Even if he had a cameo, I'd lean into it.
Is it the Batman Beyond story that everybody goes on about?
Yeah.
The older Batman.
They could have Keaton play an elderly Bruce Wayne to a younger, up-to-date Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just find that and plus, even Edgar Wright said that he saw the movie. I think it was last week, and he was giving it so much praise. And I know I trust Edgar Wright, but I don't know. I can separate the art from the artist, but with the Ezra Miller stuff going around, it really does feel like damage control.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah, I
leaning
agree.
too much into Michael Keaton. I would lean into him, but I mean, the movie is called The Flash,
Yeah.
so. And 2 hours, I think it's 2.5 hours probably. That's the average runtime
It
of
is,
any movie
yes.
nowadays. So 2.5 hours of Ezra Miller, considering there are going to be, I think, 3 of him. Man, I really, it's a big demand.
Well, and-
Lord, go on, Rennie.
Hasn't Mega Geek seen it? Didn't he say it was pretty good? He got to go to a screening.
Yeah, he thought it was entertaining and it's worth your time. He said, yes.
Yeah, but
I
he said that
trust
he
him on
wouldn't,
that
he
one.
wouldn't watch it a second time too.
Yeah, but isn't that like most movies these days? I mean, you'll watch it and you're like, no, it was a good movie. And then like you're just like, I'm not going to watch it again because I was entertained the first time. But I'm
Well,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an Across the Spiderverse where you want to watch it a second time. But, I think that I think most movies, if they like, I'm sorry, how can you not want to see Michael Keaton as Batman one more time before he dies? Like, come on, like how, like I don't understand people that are like, I'm not gonna go see this movie because Ezra Miller. Listen,
I would have a couple of notes on that. The first is, I don't think cameos necessarily make for a good film. They did work in Spider-Man: No Way Home. Then the studio thought, well, it worked there, so let's do it with Multiverse of Madness, and let's see how many necks Wanda can snap. And it didn't work so well there. So cameos alone don't lift the film. Also, like, I wasn't alive when Michael Keaton was Batman, so it has no real appeal for me at all.
Oh, rub it in, rub it in.
But it just doesn't. So I think it is, those sort of cameo reveals are banking on capturing a very specific part of the audience in terms of demographics.
I agree.
And it's a chunky part of the audience. That's absolutely fine. I just think that's also the demographic, however, which is probably going to be most put off by Ezra Miller. So it's working against itself, or at least it won't have as big a positive effect, I don't think, as the studio is probably hoping, because the socially conservative older people who remember Michael Keaton are also the people who are likely to say, I'm not going to go and see the film because Ezra Miller is a douche. So it will be interesting to see which of those two sort of impulses wins out. I think the truth will end up being that it performs in a quite average manner. It won't be exceptional one way or another. It's more likely to underperform than overperform, I would guess, unless word of mouth is especially strong.
Lord, while you're on your feet, would you mind reading a super chat, please?
Yes, from Hostman Socrates for $5. The difference... I'm me. Separating Roman Polanski from Chinatown and Miller from The Flash is quality. The Flash looks like hot garbage. Which is fine, but then at least you're saying that you're judging the art for the art, as opposed to the art based on the person who's in it, which is the argument I think I've been making and Matt Cat was making from the beginning. Yeah. So that's fine. That's an acceptable standard. Don't mind that at all. Go see the film if you want to. Don't go and see the film. If Ezra Miller really puts you off, by all means, don't go and see it because of that. That's absolutely your right.
Divisive.
Yeah, and your decision as a consumer as to what you spend your money on. But that's not a judgment of the artistic quality of the film. That's a judgment on something beyond the art. Which is why, as I was saying the last time I was on this show and last on B-Sup as well, I'm fine with people saying I'm not going to go and see it. I'm not fine with saying that it's a bad film because I'm not going to go and see it because I'm morally opposed to the actor. There's a moral luck thing. I thought what Matt Cat was saying earlier as well was really interesting, which is that we know about Ezra Miller's crimes. Alleged crimes. No, he admitted to them, so they're not even alleged. We know what
they're genuine crimes.
If you think that any given film that you love doesn't have a star in it who's done worse, but you just don't know about it, then you're living in Fantasyland. It's a moral luck question at that point. Is it only bad if we find out about it? Well, that seems to be the standard being operated on. And I don't really think that's a very solid one either, because you have to ask yourself a lot of questions if you start like posting that sort of moral opinion, which is that, well, I can believably say that most of Hollywood, or at least a plurality of Hollywood, is a moral cesspit. And say Kevin Spacey, I like Seven. Kevin Spacey's in
that
Seven.
popped into my head.
That's
exactly what I was thinking.
Kevin Spacey was accused of doing some fairly nefarious things. Doesn't impact the quality of Seven. But are you going to go back through the list of films you have on your DVD shelf and say, well, I'm going to throw this one out now because I know that the actor was a dick? I don't think most people would do that, and I don't think most people are even asking themselves that question, which is a question it might be worth starting to ask.
Well, they might just go, oh, look what I've got here. Usual Suspects. Shall I throw that out? No, I'm going to put that on and watch it again.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. Kevin Spacey used to be my favorite actor until he became a Predator. But doesn't it change the fact that The Usual Suspects... allegedly. The Usual Suspects is my favorite movie, and it's still good. And Kevin Spacey does a good job in that movie. It's just in his personal life, he's a predator, and I don't agree with that. Allegedly. Everything's allegedly.
Well, it's not been prosecuted, has it?
No, actually, I think that charge was dropped as well. So that's a whole interesting case that you can get into in another time. But it's I just think people ought to start asking the question, if they're going to be this strongly opinionated on the moral rectitude of actors, then they should start asking themselves broader questions like, how am I applying this moral principle to other things that I know I like? Am I going to go and throw these other films out? Well, but, that's entirely up to you as the viewer. I'm not telling you what you must do. I'm simply telling you what I think you should do to be intellectually consistent. Don't go and see the film if you don't want to. That's your decision. Don't tell me I'm wrong for seeing it. That's not your decision. And don't tell me the film is bad because you hate Ezra Miller. That is simply wrong.
I agree.
Well, I totally agree. And,
100% agree.
it's kind of like the thing with Tom Cruise. He is he's a nut job in real life,
For
right?
sure.
But like people love that didn't stop them from seeing all the Mission Impossible movies, didn't stop them from seeing Top Gun Maverick, and they did very well. And like I said, so why can't, and I understand Ezra Miller's a creep, but why can't we do that in this case as well? Because if not, then it's kind of hypocritical to be like, well, it's different because Tom Cruise is a different kind of weirdo. You know what I
There
mean?
you go.
I mean,
Punchable
hell,
face.
half of
Ezra is
Hollywood
no.
was
Charlie
famously in bed in one form or another with Harvey Weinstein.
What?
Harvey Weinstein objectively did terrible things to women and possibly other people as well. You
that's
don't hold it
proven,
against,
by the way,
but you don't hold it against Meryl Streep that she worked very closely with Harvey Weinstein.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Leslie
you can
Edlund.
make a
Good point.
Leslie
reasonably
Edlund.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Shall we move on? It's a bit of a.
Yeah.
I think we went
Let's
a little bit.
do it. Time to bog up.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
no.
they're not making this. They're not making this.
Script
I doubt
for
they're gonna
Flash
make
2
that.
already been written.
Unless they recast. I mean, they could do it, but I don't think they're going to do it. I think that James Gunn is pretty much like, hey, I'm just playing now with the fact that that Ezra Miller's Flash could be in my DCU, but I don't think he's bringing over any of these characters at all. I think he's just doing it so they don't completely flop at the box office.
I mean, at this point, who cares? Because it's the writer that wrote Aquaman. So Aquaman,
Boom. There you go, folks.
Aquaman was garbage. So sorry to say it.
I'm sorry. What?
was a fun
Excuse
movie,
me?
though.
Yeah, Aquaman is awesome. You stop that. You stop that right now.
Over $1 billion.
It did make $1 billion.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Well,
I
we
think-
know why.
We do know why, because Jason Momoa.
Jason
kind-
Momoa. Yes.
I'm kind of thinking if this makes $1 billion, we'll probably get Flash 2.
I really don't
Probably.
think so. I really don't think so. I
No?
I
Not
think
with
that
Is it a
James
one and
Gunn.
done? Yeah, one and done gun.
I think
yeah,
that
one and done.
yeah, like I said before, I think James Gunn is just going to move forward. I think that he's too much of, into himself, that he's just like, no, I want to do what I want to do.
See,
but
I agree with that completely. I
Lizzo
think he's
was
going to
the
clean
Flash.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just doing all this stuff like, oh, the Blue Beetle could make it into my universe, but I think he's just saying that so these
Yes.
movies make money at the box office. Because if you notice, he didn't do that with Shazam 2 and
Shazam.
Flopzilla. Okay, so I'm just saying.
Ego Smilex, I suspect this will do around 700.
I agree with that
I'm kind
100%.
of thinking, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I first said 800, but after hearing what Ian said on the last stream, I
Yeah.
think around 700.
Which is still not a bad figure.
it's
Well-
not, but I think it didn't it cost like $300 million to make this. They got to do way better than that. Like,
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see though. I don't know.
Though if it does, I mean, so I think it's Andy. Is it Andy Muschietti who's directed this one?
Yes.
Who I
Yes.
think in an interview this week said that they couldn't envisage anyone except Ezra Miller playing the Flash.
Yes, he did
Yeah.
say that.
So personally, if I were James Gunn, I'd want to be rid of this albatross as quickly as possible. But like, if not, then it would depend presumably on choice of director. If you bring Andy Muschietti back, then that's already on the record. He thinks that Ezra Miller should continue on in the role.
Yeah, but my question is James Gunn going to allow it? Because this is going to be his DCEU now, and he's just firing everybody, it sounds like.
Well,
so.
not his wife and brother.
Well,
Yep.
of course not, because nepotism is always a thing for him. So,
For sure.
yeah.
Stream killer. Okay. Stream killer, folks. Let's move on. Anybody see this? Tony Gilroy reveals that George Lucas told him that he loved Rogue One. I had a 45-minute conversation with him after he saw Rogue. He loved it. He really did. He had a lot of things to say that it was like a call from the president.
Well, but wasn't Rogue One fairly faithful to the Star Wars lore? And
Yes.
didn't it pretty much respect it? And basically, Rogue One ends where New Hope begins. And
Yeah.
Yep.
so, aside from like the Leia CG that was awful, I really didn't find Rogue One to be horrible. It was probably the only Disney Star Wars movie that I found tolerable.
I agree.
I agree.
It's the only Disney Star Wars thing I would watch more than once for pleasure, as opposed to pain
Absolutely.
or masochism.
Yeah. Where's the lie?
I think it was faithful enough is the answer. I think there probably were a few more errors than certain diehard fans would have liked to see in Rogue One, but it was faithful enough that a lot of that could be forgiven. It clearly did have an immense amount of respect for the story it was trying to adapt. It also clearly had a basic level of respect for the fundamentals of storytelling, or character building. It didn't do a brilliant job with some of them. I think Jyn Erso is a bit of a plank, but and himself is likewise a bit of a plank. It's by no means a perfect film. It's quite deeply flawed, but it is by far the best of all the Disney stuff, and it does hold up reasonably well in its own right. Tony Gilroy is a really interesting guy as well. We were covering him on EFAP last weekend.
Oh, nice plug.
I went through. Yeah, I know. Got to help him out. Going through one of the an interview that he gave to a couple of people, and he was talking about his writing process on Andor. And just it's basically every single thing you wanted to hear from a person who writes films, because it's everything that's missing from every other film going out. It's like, if I'm writing a character, every action that the character takes, I want it to be their action. It can't be a message dictated action. It has to fit into the story. The action and their thought processes have to determine how the plot goes. Everything has to be coherent. It has to make sense. I have to have respect for the lore. I have to do all my research. And you think, yes, can we please put this man in charge of the entire franchise now, please? Because that would be really good.
I was going to say, KK is going to get the boot with Indiana Jones flopping.
Who were your sources on this?
Hashtag Doomcock was right.
I couldn't possibly comment, but the route. I don't know if is Favreau out. I don't know.
Yeah,
well,
I don't
Gilroy
know
would be a good choice, wouldn't he?
Oh, I don't know, man. Andor was really boring, so I don't know. I don't know, man. If he adds more action in there, then I'll be like, go ahead. But I don't know. Andor was really boring.
Here you go, folks.
Boring.
Jalan E.T. Rogue One was all right. Alan Tudyk was great as the robot, though.
For sure.
And then Abject Mediocrity. Here you go, Lord. This one's for you, kind of. Rogue One is better now. It's set up Andor.
I think the hope rather is that Rogue One improves because of what Andor does. So Andor has to set up Rogue One, and maybe will make a few of the less appealing parts of characterization in Rogue One make a bit more sense now that you have the backstory to fill that in. I'd like to. We'll probably rewatch both Andor and Rogue One in succession and see if that sort of changes how I view the latter, just to see how it works, because it ties in reasonably. But then, of course, we've got season 2 of Andor to come first, so I'll probably wait before I do that.
Right.
Here you go, Tim. I like saying this. Hannabomb. Gilroy is a top writer.
Yes, isn't the end of season 2 of Andor supposed to lead directly into Rogue One?
Yes,
I think that's the plan. Yeah.
But have they confirmed season 2?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been made at the moment. Yeah. Lord, do you think Andor could do with a re-edit to get rid of the baggage a little bit?
No, I think it should have released in. It should have been like a third the number of episodes. Combine it into like 3 episode arcs as opposed to.
Agreed.
That's the wrong way of putting it. Rather than release it as a weekly episode by episode thing, you combine, because it's mostly structured as 3 episode arcs. You combine those 3 arcs into 1 episode each, and then you release those as longer featurettes, and that might have kept people's attention. But part of the problem, part of the reason people felt it was boring, is that the middle act of each of the individual arcs tended to be purely setup, and it's people are used to binge watching things. They're used to streaming services. And it's not easy these days to get people to sit through an hour of build-up to something that they don't really know yet will pay off. So yeah, change the running order by all means. I don't think I'd have got rid of a huge amount from Andor at all. I think it's one of the most cohesively well-written scripts that Star Wars has had since the original trilogy. I would like to have seen more action in a different context. Maybe not. It doesn't really belong in that show. I think Gilroy would have understood, and he was involved with Rogue One, I think, and so he did understand that a Star Wars film, a major cinematic production, needs a bit more by way of action and a bit less by way of political intrigue. But that's the thing with Andor. Andor is not a cinematic production. It's not a mainstay entry in Star Wars. You don't actually have to see it. It's an old expanded universe style story. And if you like what it's trying to do, then you will like the show. If you don't like what it's trying to do, you don't need to see it. But to judge it, as some people seem to want to do, on the same level as they judge a cinematic release is, I think, mistaken.
Lord, I can hear Mega Geek in my head saying, Ben, it's boring. It's not
it's
Star
shit.
Wars.
It's shit.
Shit.
Why am I wasting my time with this?
And I'll say
gotta
yes, but you
represent when he's
liked
not
John
here.
Wick 4, so, which of us has more credibility in this
Whoa,
argument?
that is just wrong, Ben. It was actually a pretty good movie. And I didn't really care for John Wick until my husband got me into it.
Oh, you married?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, Andor is okay, but like Ben said, if you could just trim a third of it away. And
That's the only thing what's putting me off watching it. Here you go. Look, Kratos, Andor was brilliant. Cheers, Franco. Yeah, drink.
Drink.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So there is good Star Wars from Disney, just not much of it. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's hardly a high bar.
Leave it
Yeah,
to Mr. Brown
that's right,
to set
that's
the
what
bar
I thought.
low.
I was thinking, is that good or bad? Early domestic box office prediction claims Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny will outperform Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania.
Outperforming Ant-Man is like Ant-Man is a nuclear bomb. It didn't just bomb. It was an atom bomb. The
Yeah, I was
explosion
gonna
was
say.
just outperforming that is the bare minimum expectation, and you will still lose money if you outperform Ant-Man.
100%.
This is an
Absolutely.
Indiana Jones film, everybody, by the way.
Yeah,
it's-
but
It isn't. It's a Phoebe Waller-Bridge film.
Yeah. I was really shocked when I went to see my parents last weekend. My mom was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see this movie. It's going to be so good." I'm like, "It looks dumb." She's like, "Yeah, but it's Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford. I can't wait." I'm like, "Okay."
well,
So
she's
there
gonna
are
be
some diehard
disappointed.
fans. Yeah, she's going to be disappointed. I told her, but I guess you have some diehard fans out there that will be,
For
taking up
sure.
seats or filling up seats.
Yeah,
Lord, are you
I would certainly start looking around for a retirement home for your mother. Clearly got some
Can I,
cognitive deficits there.
Can I ask a question real quick? I mean, we all know that this is going to be bad, but in all honesty, who is going to go see this opening weekend? I know I will because I need the
Yeah, I will.
content. I need the content,
Really?
and I'm going to shit all over this movie. So
Will you do
if
it
it's
live?
good? What if it's good?
if it's good, I'll be honest about it. If it's good, I'll be like, listen, this was actually a good movie. Listen. It's actually a good movie, but I have a feeling it's not gonna be. So we'll see.
I'm going to try and pronounce this. Is it lieutenant or lieutenant? I'm kind of thinking
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant.
I think Americans say
Colonel-
lieutenant, the
Americans
British
say
say
Colonel
lieutenants.
Tanya
and
von-
well, we have a Frenchman on the panel. It's a French word.
Lieutenant. That's how you say it.
Okay, I'm not saying that. That's just
Yeah, I'm not saying that either.
Uninspired,
hard.
would you care to read the chat then, please?
Okay, so I'll say it in French then. Lieutenant
Yes.
Colonel Tanya von de Gurschaff. There you go. KK will leave whenever the. Well,
Yeah, she will.
Whenever the fuck she wants to.
Yeah, I think
Wait,
she
real
will.
quick, can I ask a non Indiana Jones question? How do you guys say tomato in French?
Tomato.
You guys
Tomat.
tomate? You
Yeah,
guys say tomat?
tomat. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys say it wrong too. Okay, that's fine.
Oh,
So, okay, so back to Indiana Jones. Sorry. And KK will leave whenever she wants.
That's
Woman,
right.
that woman fails upward. I do not understand. She knows where bodies are hidden. I know she does. That's the
She does.
only
She's got
reason.
negatives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only reason. It's ridiculous. I don't understand any of that nonsense.
Maybe she's
don't
got
believe the 500 rumors about her getting fired every day, every
Hashtag
week,
doom-
every month.
Hashtag Doomcock was right.
I couldn't possibly comment. Catty, are you available to read a super chat, please?
Absolutely, absolutely. Ooh, shots fired at the corner of Mega Geek Boulevard and Little Platoon Way on John Wick Street. Boom, boom, boom from Hostman Socrates for $5.
Cheers,
Wah, bah, 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 bah.
It's
I
shit.
will
That
give
super
him a
chat is
slight
shit.
nudge. I'll give him a slight nudge, and then he will proceed to throw himself down the world's longest staircase in response.
I love that scene. I love that
Oh
scene
my
so
gosh,
much.
yes.
Lionsgate actually posted a 10-hour version of John Wick falling down the steps on their YouTube channel.
Oh,
that was
that's
such
awesome.
a horrible.
I'd watch that.
I hated that scene. I was like, oh my god, he
watch
was
that.
so close to the top.
I loved that scene. I laughed so hard. It was so funny. So funny. Okay, so back to Indiana Jones. This movie's gonna fail. I know it is. It's gonna flop. 100%.
It's just it's just her on the right.
I sadly say that I think it's going to do better than we think it's going to do, because you're going to get some of these people that are like, oh, it's Harrison Ford's probably last film or last outing as Indiana Jones. And I do think you're going to get a lot of these, oldies but goodies that want to see that. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to be one of them. So
So even if it does significantly better, even if it makes 700 million, it's still gonna be a flop.
There you go.
Oh,
Comikino asked the tough question. What if it does well? That is a tough question.
I would love it if this film did well. I really, really want a good
1.2
Indiana Jones
billion.
film to finish it all off. That would be
1.2.
lovely. It won't, but it would be nice to think that it might. If it does well, look, it will probably do one or two things quite well. Most terrible films manage to do one or two things quite well. Even John Wick 4 did one or two things quite well. So and I will happily say that thing worked. It's just a shame about everything else in the film.
Here you go, folks.
I don't know. I'm not seeing any hype around this at all either. So I get the oldies but goodies argument, but I'm not hearing anyone talk about this. I don't think anyone. I'm not aware of anyone who's excited for it. No one seems to give a shit, and that is a sorry state of affairs when an Indiana
just
Jones
on the
film is
right.
met with no anticipation whatsoever.
That's a good point.
Here you go, folks. Demon Scythe Synthwave. At Mr. Brown Alliance asked me, maybe Kennedy was fired back in 2012, but the world actually did end back then, and we're all in a living hell. Yeah, it's when they turned on CERN, wasn't it? We're all going down a micro black hole.
We're all
So
in
Brown,
purgatory.
if this does well, what are you going to do? I think we should turn this into a dare.
I don't. What?
This could go in any number of directions. I'm interested.
Like he could eat a bag of dicks live on air, like one of those
Well, I
bags
do
of
anyway.
gummy dicks. I'm just saying, make it interesting for the audience.
I'm totally indifferent about this film,
Yeah,
which is a shame. It's just her on the right.
which also gets me because Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Anyone else but her.
I don't understand how she's like. I don't understand. Okay, so I didn't watch Fleabag, but I watched Killing Eve season 1 and the rest of them. And after season 1 was good. I love season 1, but after that, it was terrible. I don't understand how people in Hollywood fail upwards. And I can't remember which one of you said the last time I was on, but us Americans, we grab our British person and we love that one person. And then I don't know why, because they end up being, usually crappy. But right now it's Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and I do not understand why. She's not that great. I mean,
Well, they're probably looking for a replacement for James Corden.
which, by the way, you guys can have him. I never liked James Corden, so you guys can have him
Here you
back.
go, folks. I think Time Scales has said this one before, but we'll say it again. The odds of surviving a plane crash are 1 in 30 million. Harrison Ford has survived 4 plane crashes.
He has. Yeah.
I will quickly
Don't
say,
tell me the odds.
never tell me the odds, kid.
Will he survive this plane crash?
See, this could have been good if it had been. Is it Marion? Is it Marion?
Yeah, Marion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Short Round, but no.
Short Round, yeah. They should have had Short
Yeah,
Round take
Oscar
up the
winner.
mantle. Yeah,
Oscar
if
winner,
he would have
don't
taken
forget.
up the mantle, that would have been great.
Yeah, Oscar winner. Anyway,
On the Waller-Bridge thing, I think part of the reason is that she was very well received when it was, around that time. Killing Eve season 1, Fleabag season 1, both were pretty well received. These people do tend to sign fairly long-term contracts, and I think it was off the back of that I think we're talking about this on B-Sub as well, which is that this is a woman who has that rare ability to make men laugh in a way that isn't objectionable.
Never
And I
made
think
me
that's
laugh.
maybe one of the reasons. Well, I mean, Killing Eve did objectively in terms of audience scores, and Fleabag did as well. It was a show that was funny, but it attracted not just women who to watch it. It was relatively broad appeal. I understand people don't like some of it. Some people don't like it. That's fine. But generally speaking, it was well received, not just by female audiences, but by male audiences as well. There's a huge amount of capital in the ability to make both sexes laugh, especially as a woman, because female comedies are famously terrible, which is why only women like them. But if you can make men laugh as well, that's something else. I think she has long outlived that potential, though. She probably signed these contracts back when she was at her height, and now she is
Pre-COVID.
lingering on, just popping up because there's this vague sense that if anyone can do it, she can. I don't think she can anymore, but maybe that was the reason she got involved in the first place.
But Disney's also got a habit of employing the certain irritating women over and over again. So they'll keep employing Phoebe Waller-Bridge, they'll keep employing Aquafina, and they'll keep employing
God.
Freckled Jesus for reasons.
Freckle Jesus.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
I mean, Waller-Bridge doesn't even have the good courtesy to be, attractive, which could have made up for her being
true.
irritating. That
So true.
that nose could scratch glass. That's quite impressive. She's really not.
Keep her behind the camera and give us Ana de Armas. There we
Yeah,
go.
That would be much
Absolutely.
better. Yes, much better.
Yeah, Anna de Anus gets my vote. Okay. This is good. This could go. The film could go either way. Then really, it could either be a massive flop or a success. Nobody knows really.
Flop.
Yes, no.
Yeah,
Flop.
I think flop. I think
I'm
flop.
going to go flop.
Flop.
I'll also go flop.
I think it'll do okay.
Okay.
Not great, just okay.
Well, then it's a flop. Okay, let's move on.
Well then,
Not speaking of flops, anybody see this?
I did see this.
Yep.
The savior of Hollywood, Tom Cruise, is reportedly pissed Oppenheimer will be taking away all the IMAX screens from
Oh.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. So Cruise furiously showed the film to exhibitors to convince them to switch from Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Well, Oppenheimer's
be very
taking the
sh-
screens for 3 weeks, isn't he?
3 hours long. Well, 3 hours 9 seconds. Oppenheimer.
well, and doesn't Christopher Nolan film scenes in IMAX like he did with The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Returns?
Yes.
Yep,
yes.
he does.
So that would probably be why he got first dibs, is because he actually uses the IMAX
It's not an action
cameras.
movie, though, is it?
No, which is a weird movie to
You
put
go.
in IMAX.
You go, MJ. Mission Impossible would be better on IMAX, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I'm
Listen,
listen. I get that from my mother. I can hear her every time. Okay, so I don't understand. Okay, Oppenheimer and Barbie are going to not do as good as everybody thinks they are. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it right now. I don't know anybody that's interested in Barbie and Oppenheimer, but Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning 2
Yeah.
Part 1, I know more people that are interested in that movie than they are in the other two combined. So I do not understand how you would take a movie that's action-packed, everybody's excited for, and take it off of premium screens that people are willing to pay for, myself included, over movies that I am not interested in. So I don't understand. And maybe I'm not as intellectual as some, but I just don't care about Oppenheimer or Barbie. I literally don't care. I don't care at all.
Yeah, no, but that's not really an argument as to which film you like.
Yeah.
It's a question of which film is more likely to succeed at IMAX. Now, I would much prefer watching a film like Oppenheimer to Mission Impossible, but as a studio, as a film company, as a cinema company, I would absolutely be putting Mission Impossible on IMAX, because Oppenheimer, they're not even competitors except in this one very specific realm. Oppenheimer is a documentary film.
Yes.
It's not going to
Yep.
be this huge blockbuster film. It's not intended to be such
gonna
either.
be-
It's so, except for the reason that Rennie gave, I can't really see why IMAX would be choosing Oppenheimer over
doesn't need
Mission
it.
Impossible.
It's
Because when
not
you-
the type of movie you would see in IMAX, right? You want to see something action or something, that's going to be really in your face, that's good for that big screen. And watching a documentary, I don't understand why Nolan did that.
A lot of the modern screen sizes now the non-IMAX screens are gigantic anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen a film in IMAX because over here in France they only show it in
What?
over here in France they only show it in dub, and I'll never pay money to go watch a movie in French dub, so I haven't seen anything. But the 2D screens, like the normal screens, are massive. So I don't really see. I just think it's Christopher Nolan that's trying to, I don't know, get back at Warner Bros. Or something.
Get some
I-
more money, maybe.
I went to see Interstellar on IMAX. God, it was boring.
I bet.
Oh,
What a
yeah,
waste!
yeah.
What a waste of 15 quid.
Absolutely. Oh, Interstellar's a waste of money anyways. That movie
Yeah.
was so boring.
Snooze.
Yeah, I couldn't handle it. And I love how people are like, "Well, you didn't understand it because it was mostly mathematical." And I'm like, "Explain how it was mathematical." I don't get any math in there. I was like, "This movie just sucked. I did not enjoy myself at all."
Yeah.
Here you go, folks. This one's for you, uninspired. Kranatos asks, "What is French for IMAX?"
Honestly, I think it's IMAX.
IMAX.
Yeah. That's it, IMAX.
I'm thinking the Nolan film, while it will be good, I'd rather watch Mission Impossible.
No, yeah, Mission Impossible has my money, but I think that Barbie will actually be successful because of meme power. So
Yeah.
the same way Minions: The Rise of Gru got like made, I think, $1 billion because of memes and because of trends. I think that it'll be the same with Barbie, and I actually think that it may be the same with Oppenheimer too, because since I think they're releasing on the same day,
Yeah.
I really think that people will just start a trend on TikTok and say, yeah, there we go. Let's go dress up as Barbie, and then after, let's go change, put on a suit in the bathroom and go watch Oppenheimer. I'm 100% sure that that'll happen.
Yeah, but if you want to go and see it on see Mission Impossible in IMAX, you're only going to get 9 days, so get your tickets booked.
What?
Yeah.
9 days? It's
Whereas
going to make...
Oppenheimer's
Yeah.
getting 3 weeks.
What?
I know, it's terrible.
That's a proper stream killer. Can you hear the silence, everybody?
Yes, I can hear it.
Cue the crickets.
9 days?
It's like a prophecy.
This, as we've said, Cruise, whatever you think about him, is a professional when it comes to film. And according to Spielberg, everybody saw the video, didn't they? You saved Hollywood Tom.
Yep.
Nolan didn't.
I
Right
mean, Nolan. What was Nolan's last movie?
That one about the time travel, right?
Yeah, Tenet
Yeah.
was
Oh.
Tenet
Yeah.
was released.
The movie where he's like,
Boring.
"Here, everybody, come over here. We're gonna go around here. Everybody, come
Yeah.
here." Yeah, that's
It's
how that
just
movie
like,
was.
Yep,
Yes,
100%. It was. It
Yeah,
was.
Tenet
It
didn't
was
make a lot of money, did it?
mediocre.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking, will Tom get his way? Do you think? Anybody?
I
I
hope
think he
so.
will.
Yeah. I hope he does.
He surely has more power than Christopher Nolan. 100%.
Well, now he has.
Well, yeah, especially thanks to Maverick making like a butt ton of money. So
Yeah.
I would think so.
It's going to make $1 billion straight off, easy. And it's going to. The last Mission Impossible was fantastic. This one's going to be even better.
Yeah. Mission Impossible is the rare franchise where it just keeps getting
Better. and
increasingly better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's
Apart
incredible.
from Mission Impossible 2, which is garbage.
Yeah, it was 2 motorbikes just, I don't know, slamming into
Right?
There's always exceptions to the rule. Here you go, folks. Sorry, chat moved up. Sorry. Matt Nizak. That looks like a baby Tucker Carlson, doesn't it?
It is a baby
Tenet
Tucker Carlson.
will live in infamy because of the audio.
Yeah. Hey guys, come around the back. Don't move anymore. Hey. That's how it was. I literally, I was like, I saw that in theaters, and I kept asking my wife, I'm like, what are they saying? And she's like, I have no idea. I had to finally watch it with the closed caption on when it came on digital, and I was like, oh, I get it now. But waste of money in the theater.
Yeah, definitely not worth it.
Kat, are you available to read a super chat?
100%. I showed up for Platoon face reveal. Come on, cutie. Yeah, where's your come on face reveal? Come on.
Hey now, Hey now, people have to spend a lot more than $2 to use my face, okay?
How much?
So
How much?
How much of a super chat
Yeah, how
would
much
you
of a
need
super
to do a
chat?
face reveal, Ben?
It's in the order of many thousands of dollars. It's a luxury item. It does many useful things.
Well, too late. I already saw it on the news thumbnail that he had before.
It's a luxury item. Moving
I'll
on.
bet it is. I'll bet it is a luxury item.
Did anybody see this? It's
I did, yeah.
Oh.
Is Pink Panther really that popular that people want a reboot? Like,
But they already did it with Steve Martin, right?
they did, and I
And
actually
it didn't do so great. The second one, at least.
Yeah, but I actually do like those movies. I've seen them, but at the same time, I just go, I'm not really interested in a reboot or another movie. The two were fine, but I'm not interested in this anymore.
Yeah, I liked the first Steve Martin movie, but the second one was just meh. And they even changed the shape of the Pink Panther, which was stupid. That didn't make any sense. They had to replace Kevin Kline with John Cleese. It was just kind of a bit of a shit show for me. Like Ian would say, it's shit. It's shit.
Drink, everybody. I like Eddie Murphy, but
I do too.
It's just they can't come up with original characters. It's always white man's sloppy seconds, isn't it? As somebody said once.
But he brought back like the Nutty Professor in the 90s, so you never know.
That was a genuinely good film, that was.
Yeah, it was great. And that was race swapped from wasn't it Jerry Lewis that played the character originally? Yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what he could do with this. Eddie Murphy is typically a naturally funny guy, but I just don't know if he still has the magic he used to have.
Well, we'll find out when Beverly Hills Cop 4 comes out.
If it ever does.
It's on Netflix. It's going to come out on Netflix.
Oh, but isn't it going to be a TV show instead?
No, I think it's a TV movie. Netflix put money behind it. I know it was being made. I don't know if it's been completed, but
do you think it's going to do a French accent?
I would like to see that, because you guys remember Saturday Night Live when he was Gumby and he had that weird accent. He's like, I am Gumby, damn it. I would like to see if he could do a French accent just for grins and giggles.
Uninspired, could you say I am Axel Foley?
Je suis Axel Foley. But
you don't get that on Nerdrotic, folks. If I may, super chats from Romeo Tango November Zulu for $5.50 NZ dollars. Okay, you fickle bastards. The Dark Knight trilogy. Okay, Inception, Prestige, Dunkirk, and Memento. Say hello. I can't see Oppenheimer bombing. Oh wait.
Oh, I see what you did there. The Dark Knight Rises. I liked The Dark Knight Rises, but The Dark Knight Rises is objectively not a very good film. Inception is the classic example of complexity not equaling quality. And Dunkirk is a relatively soulless and incredibly loud remake of a much better 1950s film. So, Nolan is talented, but there's a bit of the Zack Snyder fanboying that goes on with him, I think.
Well, and I didn't care for his input on the Superman Man of Steel movie either. I think after Interstellar, at least for me, and Man of Steel, he just started going down. His stock went down with me. So, just saying.
Here you go, folks. Getting back on track. Jim D. Beverly Hills Cop 4 is finished and going on to Netflix. So we shall see.
Yes, and the inevitable Shrek 5.
Ooh.
Oh, really? No, I want to see that. I love Shrek.
Did you not see the end scene in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish?
No, I didn't see that movie.
I didn't see that either.
Well, I can thoroughly recommend it. It's second Puss in Boots movie is far superior to any of the Shrek movies or the previous Puss in Boots movies.
Wow.
Agreed.
And the final scene is they're heading towards the Neverland.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Sorry, far, far away. That's it.
Yeah,
okay.
I agree, though.
Here you go, folks. Another super chat from MDuke84 for $2.50 Californian woke dollars. Chat referenced this as the new Black Panther film. I saw what you did there. Very good.
Pink Panther forever.
Oh dear.
Yes. Oh dear. We love Eddie Murphy. Let's move on. Well, I do anyway.
I do. I love Eddie Murphy. He's great.
This week, happy 93rd birthday to Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Wow.
Doesn't he have a movie
93.
coming out? Maybe I'm wrong. I thought he has. Doesn't he have a movie coming out that he's directing?
But I think it came out. I think it's called Cry Macho, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, look at him, still working at 93. Good job.
Which panel, which is your favourite Clint Eastwood role from those?
We have to pick one.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh man.
Oh, I need a minute. To think.
Okay, I'll do some. Have a think. Here you go, Jim D. 93 in Legend.
This is such a hard movie or question.
Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
Nah, I've got mine. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, go on then.
Unforgiven, 1992.
That's the Western, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a
Yep.
good one too. Oh,
The one with Morgan Freeman. That's actually my favorite Clint Eastwood movie.
Z?
Unforgiven. Absolutely superb.
Rennie?
I would have to say favorite Clint Eastwood character would be Dirty Harry. There's just no,
Yeah.
there's
wait, are we
no
doing-
outdoing that.
are
He
we
said
doing
favorite
movie-
character. I thought.
oh, did he say character? Oh, well then, hold on. I have to think. Now I have to think.
Listen.
Listen.
Hello.
My hearing's not so good these days. Well, I'm just gonna say Unforgiven too because I can't pick one. You guys have there's too many good ones. Too many.
Lord, we'll do some chats. You know, Man with No Name.
It'll be one of the
Radiates.
first three, I think, just because I have fond memories of watching the
Give it.
old spaghetti western style. So otherwise, I'm not hugely up on Clint Eastwood. He's not someone I really pay much attention to. The bottom right picture, though, makes me think he could be very good as a biopic of Joe Biden.
I'd watch that. I would watch that.
If he's still prepared to do his own stunts, he can fall down the stairs himself, and that could be quite entertaining to watch.
I would-
He's so not right for that.
I'd watch that though. I would watch that 100%. That's so good. So good.
Obviously, grown up in the 70s, it was Dirty Harry.
That was one dude you just didn't mess with, man. I mean,
I do like The Man with No Name as well. I am partial to the odd Clint Eastwood Western.
No, I love Clint Eastwood spaghetti western. So for a character, I'd say The Man with No Name, but for a movie, I'd say Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. I love Clint Eastwood.
Dirty
mean,
Biden.
Dirty.
That's a thinking man's joke that works on so many levels.
So many. That's good. That's good. I like that.
Here you go. Space Cowboys. Wow, that's a bit left field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of like in Unforgiven.
yeah.
But he's got it. Like, there's so many good movies in his IMDb. Like, he's great.
Okay. Direction. Any films come into mind? What is directed? What have been good?
Oh, Gran Torino.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say Gran Torino. Yeah.
$1 Million Baby.
Oh, that's a
think.
good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still going with Gran Torino though.
Yeah, I quite liked that. Okay. Here you go. Fiona. High Plains Drifter. Yeah, another good one.
Yeah, for sure.
Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. Yeah, that was a great film.
Yeah.
Okay, so the films are just coming. Invictus.
Yeah.
Chat's moving up. Sorry. Outlaw Josie Vales. Bless you.
Sorry.
Any more?
Yeah, he's just great. I love Clint Eastwood. I just
Play Misty for me. I think that was with his wife or his bit on the side at the time, wasn't it? Sandra. I forget what was. Second name is the blonde actress. Okay. Shall we move on? Clint Eastwood, happy birthday, 90.
Happy birthday, Clint.
Yeah, to another 93.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'd like to see if that's actually a reality.
I hope so. I hope everybody
I was
lives as
gonna
long
say-
as possible.
I was going to say, where's Robot Head when you need him? Apparently, this is being remade in Australia.
Yes.
What?
For Amazon, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
the office
why?
said about it.
Yeah, why?
All
So
female
Australia's
cast.
doing this?
I think so, yeah.
Yep.
Why?
Yeah, I
Don't know.
This is stupid. We've had the British office. We've had
Don't
the
know.
American office. We don't need another office, much less a female-led one, just to make a freaking point.
So
There's a
I was
Saudi
reading,
Arabian version
yeah.
of The Office as well, which
Is
is
there
worth watching.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
they actually lifted. Oh, what's the scene with the fire drill? That clip was doing
Oh
the
my
rounds on Twitter a
God.
while ago. It's a load of very, very Saudi people who can't really act trying to do that, but apparently it's a whole series, and I really want to watch the rest because it's unintentionally hilarious. It's funnier than the American version by quite some distance.
But yeah, I was actually reading an article, and it said that this will be the 13th different version of The Office.
Wow.
Are you
So,
kidding?
Yeah, I was even surprised.
Unlucky
I thought there
13.
were only
then,
2.
yes.
Oh yeah. Unlucky
I don't
13.
even like The Office. I don't think it's a
It
great
was
show.
okay. It was all right.
No.
What? What
it's
is wrong with you?
I just listen. I only watched the first season.
Listen.
Listen.
Listen, if you don't
My
know
twin-
anything about recyclotron, we can't be friends.
Well, I don't know anything about. I
peace,
don't know anything about.
Recyclotron.
Rest in peace, because I don't know anything about you. I have a twin brother, and he literally is like, "This is one of the
Listen.
best shows ever." And I watched the first season. I'm sorry, I can't watch anymore. It was ridiculously bad. I don't like it. I don't like
Which,
it.
Like
at all.
the-
which version did you watch? The Ricky
I watched the
Gervais
American
or-
one. I'm not watching any other version except
Ricky
American.
Gervais
I'm
was pretty
American.
I'd watch this one. I want to see the Punjabi office.
Whoa. No, the UK version was actually pretty funny, Matt. But honestly, the American version is funnier to me because I think Ricky Gervais's character was more awkward than Michael Scott.
It was supposed to be.
But yeah, no, I know it was, but it was
It
just
was,
like,
but
oh
it,
my God,
makes
he
the
just
American
did that.
version. The American version is nicer, and the Ricky Gervais version, the English version, is more sort of cold and awkward and a bit cynical. The American version picks up, I think, after season 2. It's a bit like Parks and Recreation or Veep.
Yep.
Many American comedies sort of kick off, especially if they're adaptations of British things. The first
Yeah.
season is in this awkward in-between ground where they're trying to do too much of the British one, but they don't really
Yeah,
understand
where-
what makes it work. And then after season 2, they find their own identity, and that's when it becomes a very distinct entity that's worth watching.
100%.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
My brother says the same thing, but I'm sorry. I'm already been burnt. I'm not interested. I can't go back. I got to go forward. So,
I mean, I will say when Michael Scott left, that's
Yeah,
when The Office
season
was not so
7.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last 2 seasons just weren't so much fun. I mean, it was nice to see him come back for the very, very end, but he said, what, 2 lines and not many
That was it.
words? And so I can agree on that part, but man, they had some really great moments on that show.
Yeah, the American version of The Office is actually my favorite sitcom, and I discovered it only 2 years ago, and I adore it. I mean, I cried when Michael Scott left.
Oh,
So-
me too. Every time, like if I see some of the
Hashtag
reruns
me
on
too.
TV, I'm like, oh, I hate this part.
All right, I
especially
take
when
it back.
Pam
Maybe
meets him
I'll
at the
pick it
airport.
maybe
It's
I'll
so
pick it
good.
up. Maybe.
Here you go, Jay Goodwin, Nigerian office where everyone is a prince and
I'd watch
wants
that.
you to transfer some money because you
That's
want
right.
some money into your
So
bank
true.
account.
So true.
Yes. Okay.
Another
so-
wacky week of trying to get rid of the 2.4 million in gold they've got in their office.
we need you to
Why
send
does nobody
us-
believe us?
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Oh, where's Mega Geek when you need him?
There's a harsh comment from Melvin in the chat about Rashida Jones.
Oh, I did see this.
That's very harsh. Although, but she's in episode 1 of Silo as well, and yes, she did get old. I mean, she's still pretty, but yeah, she got old.
Yeah, I'll have to ask you about Silo later.
Here you go then, folks. As I said, where's Mega Geek? when
Well,
you
why?
need him?
Well, you know what gets me about this is, aren't these books, these James Bond thing? I don't watch James Bond. I've only seen clips and stuff. But isn't he white in the books? And I'm like, why won't you just?
He's
keep
half
him-
Scottish as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't, and I like I said before when it came to Miles Morales, people will show up and support an original person of color character. When you race change, aka a Little Mermaid, people don't show up like they will for an original character. And I think that James Bond, listen, you may not like it, some may not like it, but listen. But he's a
Listen,
white
Linda.
Listen, Linda. He's a white character, so why not just keep it the way it is and and stop whining about it? I don't understand. I really don't understand this way of thinking.
The story says next James Bond won't be white, claims industry exec as hunt for 007 continues.
There's been that hint about Idris Elba for the longest time. I would not be surprised if he took the helm.
Yeah, but Idris Elba said something I think it was a couple of months ago. He said that he'd prefer just playing an original black character.
Yeah. And that's the thing. They could totally make a James Bond. I'm putting up quotations. I know you can't see me. A James Bond character that is black, and it could be a hit. That's what I don't understand. Stop making things that aren't what they aren't, and just make them what they are, and then make something new. I promise you, people will show up if it's good. I promise you.
They could, not that I care because they killed him. Idris Elba could be cast as 007, but not as James Bond.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't know. Man.
Sure.
They tried that. No, he can't. I disagree.
Like, I don't see them like completely doing away with that idea. And I know he said like, I don't think I would be interested in doing that. But I think if they throw enough money at him, he'll probably do it. It would skyrocket his career if they were smart with it.
Abject mediocrity. I like Elba, but not in this.
I agree.
I think Idris Elba would be quite happy just to continue making Luthor.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, he played Roland Deschain in the Dark Tower movie, and Roland Deschain is white in the Stephen King books, folks. Just an FYI.
And that movie was crap.
It was, but he accepted the role, so that's why I'm like not believing that he would completely turn it down.
I agree. I agree. Well, if I was an actor, I wouldn't turn it down either. And I'm like, I would not be good in the role because I'm like very skinny, very short. But I'd be like, yeah, I'll play James Bond. Give me the money. Yeah.
Shoot, how much money is it paying? Heck yeah.
Exactly.
Here you go, folks. Romeo. The next James Bond will not be able to make a single dollar at the box office if there's an unnecessary race swap.
Yeah.
Lord, any thoughts?
Well, even the Daniel Craig era showed that you can race swap certain characters and make them black, and it works. So that they I can't remember the guy's name who played Felix in Casino Royale, but he's a good actor. They made and they did Moneypenny, but she always slips from my mind. But I thought Felix's recast actually worked. He's a good actor. He's an American.
Jeffrey,
and America has a hugely bigger black population than Britain does, and Scotland is 99.97% white. So it's partly about believability about it. I don't think there's any necessary reason that race swapping certain other characters in Bond's universe is wrong. When it comes to Bond himself, you need a very, very good reason to do that, and I cannot conceive of a good reason to do it. Also,
Absolutely.
I think it might even diminish it a little bit, because one of the appeals of James Bond overseas, where it gets a huge amount, if not the majority of its money from America, for example, is this conception of it as a definitively English-style story. If you transform it to make it look a bit more American than it currently does, then it loses its unique appeal, because why are we watching this vaguely American-British thing when we could just be watching an American spy drama which does all of this much more naturally than the Bond film does?
Mission Impossible.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, already with them saying that he won't be white, they're already canceling out that excuse that most people use, like, oh yeah, he was the best for the job. So yeah.
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 Here you go. Johnny Lawrence is. Go and see.
I don't trust GB News as far as I can throw them, and in fact, I
well, sometimes.
And this industry exec and other inside sources are not named. So
that's a good point.
Well, no, but I mean, that's a huge problem in virtually every newspaper these days. They'd never name their sources. Like an unnamed person will give the Telegraph as much information as an unnamed source will give GB News. It's a pretty shoddy practice at this point, but it's not unique to GB News. But they could throw a curveball, though, because whenever they say that like X character won't be white, no one ever expects them to cast a small Chinese person. So maybe James Bond is Chinese instead of black.
Oh god,
That is a
just
good point.
Picturing that James Bond, and no, that's just
James
no.
Wong.
James Watt.
Something wrong with this.
Barbara Lawrence, Johnny Lawrence's mum. I'm fine if Idris takes on Bond. I'm also a 100% okay if he just keeps cranking out Luthor. He's great. He should just
great.
Luthor, just keep cranking him out.
Yeah.
Cranking it.
007.
I'm sorry, yeah.
I was going to say 007 egg fried rice. And then I decided against it.
But like in a qualified defense of like the prospect of a black James Bond, I think there are a huge number of things
Holy
that went
fuck.
wrong. Yeah. That's more Korean than Chinese, though, I think. There were a huge number of things about the Daniel Craig era that went wrong. And you could make James Bond... Okay. I'll finish the end of this sentence if it kills
I
you.
can see where we're going now. I can see where we're going.
You can recast James Bond as black, and you fix everything else about Daniel Craig, fuck's sake, and you will still have a better product than Daniel Craig's Bond. So with that, I will surrender to the puns.
They killed James Bond. I don't care. They can go get.
Yeah. Somebody said it earlier. I think that they should redo it, but do it as a period piece. I can't remember who said it.
I don't care. I don't care. They killed him. Fiona M for $2. Will Smith is.
I'd watch that.
Definitely.
Well, we already
You
saw
see
it.
this
It's already
Bond?
Oscars.
It looks like a hat. It is, in fact, a wok.
And
Craig, you've got a lot to answer for. Let's move on. Okay, we kind of mentioned this a little bit at the beginning. Box office analysis predicts The Little Mermaid will end up being a box office flop, could lose 50 to 100 million.
Who could have guessed?
Good. Fuck him.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice one.
I think I might just clip that and put it on one of the shorts as a,
Fuck
as a
'em.
Do it.
two-word review. Fuck 'em.
I have spent more time with this film than any...
You're not
It
bitter,
borders on
are you?
cruel and unusual punishment at this point. It's just not right.
Yeah, but I'm excited
yeah,
for your review. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so excited for it.
Lord, do you feel that because they're kind of cracking down a little bit, that they're desperate for this to make money, so they're trying to silence everybody?
No, because well, the same
Which is
thing
the
happened
logic
with my
behind
Peter
it.
Pan video. It's so you can tell YouTube is obliged to tell you, for example, when somebody is manually checking your content. So the previous worst experience I had was with Rings of Power, because Amazon literally did have people manually combing through videos
What?
and claiming pieces of content. Yeah, that one was claimed by a manual person reviewing it about 10 times, I think that was. This is different. This is something is going on with the algorithm, and I don't know if this is YouTube capitulating to the studio or if it's a general change. We'll find out when I do a non-animated film review, I guess. But it's been way, way harsher than it has ever been before. I wouldn't be surprised because different studios do seem to have different standards attached to them. It used to be the case that Disney was the easiest one to work with. You can use 12-second clips for Disney stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas Universal was shit, like anything over 7 seconds and you're dead. Whereas now Disney seems to, I don't know if this will be the case with the next Marvel film, for example, but at the moment, it would appear that, Disney is being uniquely vicious using the
Yeah,
AI
they are.
system for this, and that YouTube is capitulating to that, which is
I-
not
sorry.
a good sign. No,
No,
I'm reaching
no,
the end of my sentence.
I was gonna agree with you. I made a review and I used the Scuttlebutt song, and I literally used 7 seconds, and they partially copyright claimed me, so it's only partially.
What?
Yeah, they suck.
Dang.
I did refute it or whatnot, but they put a partial thing on there, and I was like, what for that? I used it twice. And they did it, and I was like, and it's at different parts, but yeah, they did that. It's only right now. It's
Mine
kind
are
of,
getting full blocks on a single 5-second clip, and the entire video is blocked for that. I'll change it, and then the next time it goes up, it's a separate clip, which is again only one being listed. It's 5 seconds. So then I change the entire thing, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, they do seem to be being particularly shit with this at the moment. I can
Yeah, they
understand
are.
why, because the film is garbage.
It
And they
is
don't really
garbage.
want people criticizing it. But
yeah. I couldn't agree more with you.
I'll tell you who's really good at using long clips. Robot Head. He does lots of little special effects and trickery on his long clips that you should check out, Lord.
Oh yeah, but I mean, but you're used to doing that with a long clip. You have to do that kind of thing.
Right.
You don't expect to have to do it on a clip that's 4.25 seconds long, for
Okay.
example. That's not what usually happens. They don't mind you using the trailer footage at all, but it is when you use footage from the old animated classics, for example, then they're incredibly strict on that at the moment. So yeah, it's real. It failed the last time. In the course of this stream, it has already been rebuffed for another 5-second clip, so I've cut that out. I think I've got rid of all of them now, so it's re-uploading again. For well, Peter Pan took more than 50 uploads. I think this one's up to 20, so hopefully I'll keep it under the record
50
setting.
uploads.
Yes,
Dang.
that
I'd
was
have given up.
awful. I'm incredibly stubborn though. Whenever they do this, I think, well, fuck you. No, I'm going to be even worse.
I do what I want.
Because
I'm the
they
Lord.
keep saying, because I've moaned about it on Twitter, and their stupid little bot keeps replying by saying, "Hey, do you know you can appeal this if you think we made a mistake?" It's like,
Right.
I do know this because I've done it loads of times and I keep winning. The problem is I shouldn't have to do it because you're fucking stupid, and there's no way this standard should hold. But YouTube has just offered me the chance to apply for a creator partner, so I'll have someone like one-to-one to liaise with. I've only accepted this
Oh, good for
and applied
you.
for it because I want someone to shout at. So
Yeah,
they do
no.
not realize what they've let themselves in for. That first meeting, I am going to unload on this poor person.
Yeah, do it. They deserve it. Even if it's just a worker bee, they deserve it.
Yes.
Oh, that's not very nice.
Just start a
following
conversation
orders.
with buckle up, motherfucker.
Right.
That's Brown's
Okay.
catchphrase.
No, it's not. Moving on. Oh, Joe.
yes.
Oh God,
Joe.
so embarrassing.
Can go ahead.
Nobody said anything.
I did want to. Okay, I want to say something. So I am
Listen,
not.
Americans, go for it. Americans first.
Okay.
Go.
I just want to say, so I am not a Joe
Listen.
Biden supporter. Listen, I am not a Biden supporter,
What?
but I just have to say, so listen, I know that when Donald Trump was president, people would say stuff like, "Oh, he walked down this ramp slowly and he held a cup with both hands, and this was, signs of something going on mentally." I have to just say, when it comes to this, I understand why they would attack him and use this against him, but he just tripped. I'm sorry. I've tripped before over stuff. It's not that bad. It's the same thing when he falls going up a stairs. Name one person in this world who hasn't fallen going upstairs. I understand
Okay.
why they use it
The
against
problem is
him.
that nobody.
His head-
Hang on.
anybody see
Hold
the-
on.
his head on the helicopter.
Nobody else who falls is the commander-in-chief of the world's most important country.
Absolutely.
We're not
And,
over the age of
it's-
80 where a fall is
Yeah.
a legitimate health hazard from which you might never recover. So there are a couple of qualifying instances.
I
there, think.
understand what you're saying, but I still, and listen, as and I want to just listen. I just want to reiterate, I'm not a Joe Biden supporter.
Biden.
If I could speak.
Easy for you to say.
But I just go. Listen, he fell over a bag of sand. But at the same time, I understand people that are against him are using this against him. I will not be voting for him in the next election. I want to say that right now. But I just go. He just fell over a bag of sand. Like, I get if I fell over it. And go ahead.
There you go. Osman, if I may, mentioned Donald Rump. When Donald Rump was in office, they were making him have
And
assessments every 5 seconds. But
I
it's
totally-
amazing how
Yes.
Yep.
they're forgotten.
I totally agree with that.
Conveniently forgotten.
I agree with that 100%. I'm just saying that when I've fallen up the stairs plenty of times going up the stairs.
Yeah, that's because you were pissed.
You're not 83.
But
I know,
so
but
like Matt, here's the thing. This is not the first time this joke of a president of ours has fallen down or done something clumsy or looked ridiculous. The man is geriatric and he's either delusional or he's got Alzheimer's, maybe some dementia. We don't need somebody like this running
Which
our
is
country.
no laughing matter.
I don't
Yeah,
disagree
it's-
with that.
No.
Like, how many times has he talked to the air or shaken hands with the air or turned
I-
around the wrong way and not know where he's supposed to go? Or
I am
like-
not in disagreement with that at all.
so it's not just the fact that he fell down. It's just a pile of complete shit since he's taken over our country. And I'm just like, how is this man continue to be allowed to run our country? What is wrong with people?
That's the important bit. Because again, I can't overemphasize that it's not just a fall with Joe Biden. When
Yeah.
you reach the age of 80, a fall is a really, really serious, potentially
kill
life-threatening
you.
event. My nan is only a few years older than Joe Biden. She's in her mid-80s. She falls. She's in hospital for weeks because you are not robust. It can literally kill you. A simple stumble, which you can recover from because you're not 80, is really, really dangerous for someone who is. And again, this is not the only example, as Rennie says. It feeds into the general impression that Joe Biden gives that he is beyond senescence at this point. So he's kind of like dangerously not. I know it's Gore Vidal described Ronald Reagan as being in the bright autumn of his senescence, and that definitely applies to Joe Biden. It's dangerous when the president is not displaying mental acuity, when he's not displaying physical competency, when he's forgetting where he is, when he can't finish a sentence without his teeth falling out. It's legitimate to ask the question, look, is the guy maybe too old to be doing the job that he's running for a second term of? So if it's this bad now, imagine what it's going to be like in 5 years' time.
I don't disagree. Rennie and Platoon, I don't disagree with you. Listen, Linda. I'm gonna record my mother saying that. Listen, I don't disagree with you guys. I really don't. And I think that the president's brain is complete applesauce. But at the same time, I just go. They were saying this stuff when he tripped going up the stairs the very first time, and I just go, listen, he just tripped. Listen,
he's tripping, yo. He is tripping.
Yeah, yes, but at the end, but I don't disagree with you. I don't think he should be running the country. And you're right about him falling at 80. My grandfather, he was 83. He fell, broke his hip. It was a complete mess. And I agree with you, Little Platoon, like your nan. He fell. It was a disaster. So in terms of injury, I do go, maybe there's something going on there, and I don't think that he should be running the country because he is mentally deficient. But I just go, if he stubbed his toe, they would be writing, the New York Post would be putting an article being like, he stubbed his toe, he's a crazy person.
Yes, the New York Post would, but the New York Post is in a hard minority of American media outlets, most of whom are running cover for Joe Biden. Gerald Ford slipped down the stairs. Gerald Ford was an incredibly fit person in terms of physicality.
That is correct.
But the New York Times was running huge pieces on him. Saturday Night Live was taking the piss out of him for months. George Bush Sr. throws up on the Japanese ambassador, admittedly not a good look for your first foreign policy visit overseas, and again never recovered from that internationally. But the news media didn't really spend much attention on Joe Biden in the most part because most of them would rather he were president than Donald Trump was. Which is more serious, Joe Biden falling like this or Donald Trump walking slowly down a ramp? Which of these two things gets more coverage? Not in the New York Post, but in the New York Times and the Washington Post.
Did anybody see the video of him banging his head on the Air Force One helicopter?
Yes.
I was going to say, I think all the videos of Biden banging are of his son, but
yes.
I couldn't Platoon, I agree with you, and Rennie, I agree with you guys. I just a small piece of me goes like, they are going to look for any small piece of incident and just go, oh, this is, he, winked twice at something, and they're going to be all like, oh,
Okay, but isn't that what they did to Trump when he was in the office?
and,
Nobody has been
true,
good enough for the
true.
press since Obama, and he wasn't as great of a president
I
as
couldn't
they
agree-
made us or tried to make us believe that he was.
I
mean,
couldn't
all
agree more.
fairness.
I agree 100%. I agree
Obama
with
was
you.
babied by the press. Like,
I agree with
absolutely
you.
babied.
Yeah, the biggest thing, the worst thing he did was wear that beige suit. I think they wrote about that and everything. But I agree. This is the thing. I agree with you guys. I just go every time this man,
Well, listen.
listen here.
My old fella is 95 and is in far better condition physically and definitely mentally than President Biden.
I don't know. You're all focusing on the sandbag and Biden falling over. Not one of you has mentioned why he's got Michael Jackson's shoes from Smooth Criminal with the little tether things on the back so he can lean forward quite dramatically.
Oh my gosh.
I just think it's unfair to President Biden.
I like the idea they've been trying to glue him to the floor to keep him up. That's quite funny.
I'm glad that they're covering this stuff, because the more that we see that he is incompetent and incapable of doing his job, maybe, just maybe, we'll have a change in regime come 2024. I don't know 100%, but this cannot be allowed to continue. And, he isn't even technically running our country. He's not capable. He does not have the mental capacity or the awareness.
Yeah,
and so he is not running our country. So the more that they show that he is incompetent, the more likely I would like to think that some Americans are going, oh my God, I can't believe I voted for this man, or we cannot vote for Biden again. Like, I would like to think that that's what this is going to do. I don't know. It worked for Trump. Hopefully it'll work for him. But we cannot endure another 4 years of Joe Biden. It will kill our country.
I don't think the world can, to be honest.
Yeah,
but,
it will kill our country. We cannot afford it. He needs to go.
I agree.
Though I would say, though, if your plan is to replace someone who is like an octogenarian who's not completely there mentally and is prone to weird outbursts and falling out, maybe electing a 76-year-old who's already quite not all there and prone to wild outbursts is not necessarily the best alternative either.
Absolutely.
So if you are, I agree, do away with Biden by all means, but maybe think twice about his most likely opponent.
Well, you've got it between him and I think DeSantis right now are the two that are gunning for Republican.
I agree.
Office.
Kathy, you available to read this? We've got a request.
100% Velma Dinklage, which is my favorite avatar of all time. Okay. Mr. Brown Alliance, I have a request. My dear mother would really appreciate if Matt Cat 83 said, "Do it, Miss Thing. Do it. Do it." Okay, how do you want me to say it? Do you want to say it like my mother would say? Do it, Miss Thing. Or do you want me to say, "Do it, Miss Thing"? I don't know how you want me to say it, but there you go.
Okay, then. I like it.
See, this is the real question. Stringer B, can we cognitive test Kamala? That is the real question.
Only if it's only if it's with a Venn diagram, because she loves Venn diagrams.
Also, you might want to make sure you're like drug testing her as well before you do that.
For sure,
test.
For sure, yeah. They're both tarded there. I didn't say the word. I just want to say YouTube. I didn't say the word. I didn't say the word. I didn't say the word. It's like grape. I didn't say the word. I didn't say the word.
No, I'm completely with you. She is a Kamala tard. That's what she
absolutely,
is.
Yeah.
I just think.
Although I did. Go ahead.
Biden is ex-military. He served his country. I just think. I think he's in an unfair position that he's not capable through no fault of his own, and I just think it's unfair that he's getting paraded as a laughing stock. And that's
Have you ever seen the film Old Yeller?
I don't feel bad for him, and yeah, I agree. Z, put him out to pasture.
Also, in point of fact, I don't think Joe Biden ever did serve in the armed forces. He's one of the few presidents who didn't.
Oh,
I don't think he served. If so, it was a very, very low grade of service.
What, like a
But
chef?
yeah. So I don't know. I don't feel bad for him. He got himself into this mess. You've got him like talking all kinds of shit after Obama left office and Trump got in office. And now it's like, oh, well, but you can't do anything. So how are you any better than anyone else who's been president?
Okay, we'll give final word to Bank of Hostman for $5. Never Trump has got America into the state it's in. Tuck up your pride and vote for Trump because he's most likely going to be the nominee.
Oh, I love that argument. Only Trump can save us. Only
We
Trump can save
shall
us. Okay, but then Trump didn't save you in the 4 years that he had. Why is that? Well, the deep state got him, but you're telling me he's the only person who can beat the deep state. So you can't sustain both of those two positions. Donald Trump is not the answer to this problem. If Donald Trump is the answer to your question, you are asking the wrong question.
Okay, we are hemorrhaging, if I can say, viewers. Let's move on. I quickly put this in. This is how bad it is in Britain at the moment. We were up in arms that Lurpak has downsized.
I'm sorry, we're hemorrhaging viewers when we're talking about Biden and Trump, and now we're talking about fucking butter.
This is how bad it is in Britain. There was a Twitter storm that the downsized, but
I'm only seeing 4 likes on this. That's hardly a storm.
Yeah, I was in there early, you see. I think it's at 6 now. Okay, let's move on.
I've never heard of Lurpak.
Me neither.
Yeah, that sounds like a bunkhole butter.
It's a fancy salted butter from, is it Denmark? Really expensive. Okay. Rowan Atkinson was trending yesterday. He's been trending for 2 days. And he's trending because he's saying that electric cars are a bit of a like everybody was saying diesel was the next big thing. Everybody should buy diesel, and now they're all saying Well, he said the same about electric cars. He's just saying that there's we're getting missold just how good they are, and there's a lot of old cars that have still got a lot of life left in them.
Yeah.
And not as environmentally damaging. Where are all these batteries going to be dismantled? Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was also talking about how, I think he was talking about how the greenhouse gas emissions are 70% higher during the production of electrical cars compared to diesel cars. And that he said that, I think he said specifically that there will be a time where we need electric cars, but right now it's not that time.
Yeah, it says there in the middle, what happened to hydrogen? I thought hydrogen cars were the next big thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was just going to say, as far as electric cars goes, I mean, I'm interested, but at the same time, we can't be switching over to electric cars like with a switch of a light. Like, we can't do that. It's got to be very gradually.
That's how it feels, yes.
Plus, they're expensive.
Yeah, they're expensive, and I like how in my country at least they're all like, well, will you get subsidies? But it's not enough to pay for a whole car, and you can't afford one. Charging the car takes forever. Then you don't get as many miles as you would a gas-powered car. And I'm not against renewable energy. It's just you can't switch over right away. You can't do it. It's not
powered cars.
I mean, I don't know how that would work, but okay. But that
would be cool.
And it would look ridiculous because you'd have a big wind thing on your car.
Have a big sail on the top of your car.
It's just. I mean, I don't know. I don't. I would love a Tesla, but I can't afford one. But they just want to push this crap on us, and I just go, I don't know about the hydrogen car thing either. I don't know about that, but as far as right now, I think that gas-powered cars are the best way to stay with until we can get the science behind us to really do the things that they want. It's just they're trying to push this crap. They're just trying to shove it down your throat. Like, eat my energy cars. Eat my energy cars. And you're like, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry at all.
There's a really good and very simple test. Is the government trying to bribe you into adopting a new technology? If the answer is yes, you don't need it, and it's not
That's
ready.
correct.
There's
Yes.
a reason that
Yes.
they are having to give massive subsidies. There's also a reason they're having to pass laws to try and restrict the use of diesel cars in order to encourage the take-up of electric cars. That's that the market, which is made of consumers, you and me, we are all the market, are not yet taken up with electric cars because they don't work as well. They're much more expensive. They don't live as long. The batteries are difficult to replace. Sometimes they're dangerous. They're much better than they were 10, 15 years ago, to be sure, but are they ready to replace the low income kind of car that you can buy reliably, which will last you for decades? And the answer to that is absolutely no, they're not. Which is why there are subsidies there to begin with, because the government seems to want us to do something that the technology isn't yet able to provide. It's the same thing with wind power and solar power. This is always the
How
case.
dare you.
If the government wants you to buy something other than you're buying, it's because the government thinks it knows better than you, and it doesn't, because the government is full of morons.
Is Thunberg making us buy electric cars?
Well, she's one of them. It's all part of the net zero agenda. I mean, but you have... So this country, for example, the UK, one of the very few things we actually make are cars. We have a big car industry here. It was always big news in the time of the Brexit wars. Would Nissan stay or go? Would Toyota stay or go? And it was always reported that they would leave, and this would be very, very terrible for us, because then where would the jobs be coming from? They all decided to stay. That wasn't as reported upon, but it is true. But if you start to tell them, well, we're going to ensure that no one is allowed to buy your mainline car production models in the space of 15 years, that will make them leave, because this is what most people buy. It's what most people can afford. And there's a huge second-hand trade as well, which it doesn't yet exist for electric cars, and arguably never will because of the battery issue.
Agreed.
The government will do a huge amount of damage by trying to tell... It's the same thing with oil production. The government says, isn't it bad energy prices are so high? And we all say, yes. Why is that? The government says, well, something to do with Putin, but also we're not allowing you to invest any more money in producing North Sea oil because, that's not at all connected to the price of energy. It's completely disconnected thinking by fantasists who have this wild idea that net zero is A, possible, and B, desirable, and neither of those things are true.
Well, I mean, even if you have
also-
to... Yeah, go on.
No, go ahead. I was just about to highlight that Rowan Atkinson is a horrible petrol head
Yes.
and has absolutely no interest in electric
Yes.
cars. He's got the second highest lap on Star on a reasonably priced car on Top Gear.
Yep.
And 12 years ago, he wrapped his McLaren F1
Yes.
half a mile from my house. So I think he'd rather stay away from these things altogether.
Here you go, folks. Melvin Deeply in the chat. The thing is this. Right, listen, everybody.
The thing is
Melvin's-
not this, because I've already read it, but carry on.
Oh,
I would like to ask Melvin to what extent the government pushed oil on us to begin with. Because if you're saying that the only way technology improves is if the government pushes it on you, then, and I love you, Melvin, as you know, but you are flatly
Easy.
wrong, because that simply does not stand up to the test of history at all. The government subsidized coal production in the United States throughout the 1920s through 60s, and as a result empowered public sector unions which struck, and it was because the market demanded a cheap alternative that oil rose and took the place of coal. The government doesn't need to push new technology. Who's currently leading the space race? Is it NASA or is it SpaceX? The government doesn't push new
SpaceX is
technology
part
on
of
you.
NASA now, so it's all like the same company.
But
No, they farm
no,
out.
it's not the same company.
Well,
Yeah.
The government gives contracts to SpaceX because SpaceX can do things much more cheaply
Cheaper,
and efficiently and can invest
Yeah,
in
but
more
then they
technology and
explode
and is
rockets.
better at it than us. And I seem to recall Challenger going up in smoke with a few teachers
well,
on board.
yes,
Oh,
but
it's not
SpaceX
at least
does it on
Tesla.
the
road.
SpaceX hasn't killed anyone,
not
Yeah.
and
yet.
NASA has. It's an incredibly risky enterprise.
Yeah,
But
but-
I'm
the
still
general
waiting
point
for the
is that if the
exploding Tesla.
that would be very good fun. The general point is if a government has to push a new technology, the chances are that technology isn't ready. We haven't needed the government to push any of the major inventions or innovations that we currently enjoy. It's
I
a
think
strange
this is
idea.
kind of aimed at you, Lord, a little bit, or is it? John Z, you tell him, comrade.
I'm espousing the power of markets here, so comrade probably doesn't apply to me.
Yeah. Okay. I just think the electric stuff's just been pushed on us too quickly.
Well,
probably
yeah,
just a tad too quick for my liking. But
but
just me.
I don't even know if the government's like if the electrical grid could be able to sustain, if everyone switches to electric, let's say tomorrow, will the electrical grid be able to sustain it? Because I know that in France here, we had a problem where this winter even they said that they might cut the electricity, well, because we don't have enough, we don't have enough of
Well,
this plus
Germany
of
have been
the war.
suffering.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
dare
So
you? How dare you?
But you're in a better position in France than we are. One of the reasons our price for electricity is so high is because we don't generate enough nuclear power while you do. But because you had an energy shortfall, you weren't able to sell the same amount of electricity abroad, which pumped up our energy prices. Now, to answer the question, because it's a really good one, I think I'd have to look up the precise figures, but if everyone moves over to electric cars, for example, you are going to require the national grid to roughly triple in capacity in the space of, well, however long we've got until 2030. At the same time as we're trying to push to move over to wind, the highest wind power is ever generated in this country in terms of electricity production over the course of a year is about 25%. The next year it produced, I think, in total about 9%. So A, it's not enough, B, it's not reliable enough, and C, we're trying to expand capacity at the same time as we're pushing over to a means of energy production which is less efficient and able to produce less than the one we currently have. So no, the electricity grid cannot support widespread use of electric cars as it currently stands,
Yeah,
and that's
well,
without getting onto the questions of the recycling of batteries, which we're legally not allowed to do in this country, much like electric wind
really?
turbine blades
Right, well,
and solar
send it out
panels,
to
because they
Indonesia.
degrade toxically, so we move them to Africa and Indonesia where they're not our problems anymore. And that's very environmentally friendly, don't you know?
yep, all the lithium, all the cobalt, all of that.
I will just say to Greta, nuclear and hydrogen cars.
I mean, Greta's trying to sell us hard copy of her book,
How dare
so
you?
she doesn't care about cutting down trees anyway. So
How dare you?
I'm sure it's all recycled paper, though. That's
Here you go. Oh, sorry, chat moved up. Iceman bogged down big time. Yeah, we're moving on, mate. I think we'll move on from this.
Speaking of oil and cars, yeah, where's the Fast and Furious electric cars version?
I know.
Where's
Why
the
Fast
is it
Tesla in
X
Fast and
environmentally
Furious?
friendly?
has
What the
Slow
hell?
and laborious.
Fast X has passed 600 million worldwide.
it's a
Has
flop.
anybody
The
seen
famous
this?
runway scene from Fast and Furious 6 where they all have to stop halfway up the runway to
Family.
recharge their cars before they carry on again.
Family. Family. I've never seen one single Fast and Furious film.
Nope, I
Uh,
refuse to watch them. They're just
Really?
ridiculous to me. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
it's been
don't
out
see the
2
point.
weeks. That's a lot of money for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it's still a flop. And plus, right now with Spiderverse and Flash coming out and Transformers also entering the competition, I just think that it's gonna lose money because I think it's the 8th most expensive film ever made with a budget of 340 million. So reportedly,
Well, did you guys see that? I
350, yeah.
can't remember
Wow.
where I saw it on social media, but Vin Diesel blames Jason Momoa for it not doing so well because he
What?
was overacting and scene
Yes,
stealing.
hamming it up.
And I'm
No,
like,
no.
are you serious? That is so stupid. Maybe it's
Um,
because you suck, Vin Diesel.
He was the best part of the movie. Jason Momoa was the best part of Fast
I'm
X.
I'm willing to believe that.
I
He's a
don't know
scene
if
stealer.
I don't know if this joke has been cracked because I'm old and I'm senile. Should
Yeah,
it be
you sure?
Vin Electric?
Oh Lord. That to be more
No.
I'm here all
environmentally
week.
friendly.
Yeah, I'm here all week.
I was thinking, should I say
You was
maybe Vin hydrogen? And I thought, you know what? No, I'm not going to say that. No.
yeah, but you're more upmarket than me, so Vin Hydrogen, yes.
I'd not
Oh,
seen
dear.
any of the Fast films either, but I did all 9 and Hobbs and Shaw last week.
You watched all of it in a week.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, we did it
Oh,
over
God.
4 days, me and the wife. We sat down
What
and
did you
watched.
think
And what about the films?
We did
Maybe
those
not.
too.
Nice.
So all 9.
And I'm
Hobbs
guessing
and
you
Shaw.
liked them because you stuck with them.
They are essentially the same movie. Every single one of them is the same movie as the other ones. They've just jiggled the plot around a little bit.
So there you go, Vin Hydrogen. Oh, chat's moving up.
Now, for the
Vince,
Fast and Furious
Steve.
franchise, I think that number 5, 6, and 7 are the best of the franchise. After that, 9 was too. 9 became too meta. 10 was fine but mediocre.
Vin Solar.
No one's yet said Vin Wind, which is a shame.
Yeah, they
but
did.
Which
Jake
is,
and
Yeah,
Vin
they did.
Oh, did
Somebody
they?
did,
Oh,
but
I
the
missed
chat's moving up to. I can't keep
which
up.
is the fast
chat.
film where they go to space?
Fast
Uh,
9.
That
9.
sounds hilarious.
Here you go. This is Keranatos. Vin Dilithium. That's a good Star Trek joke, that.
You could go
MG.
thermal energy and go Vindaloo.
I like that.
Vin Wind Powered. I think there's one above. Vin Wind. Oh, here we go. Vin Biofuel. Vin Antimatter. What about Vin Red Diesel? Shall we move on?
Yes.
Yes.
Please.
See, this is the yes, Vin Nuclear. That's the answer.
But-
Yes.
See, so if they're all the same movie but repackaged, why did you watch all of them?
Because I hadn't watched them before.
Did you feel like you wasted hours of your life?
Yes, I do, absolutely. I
Jeez.
wasted hours upon hours of my life watching the same movie over and over again. But it gets funny towards
Family.
Fast 7 onwards, because the Paul Walker character is relegated to being a stay-at-home dad. So he's still alive
What?
in their universe.
I thought he was dead.
Wow.
Yes, but he's
No,
dead in
alive,
real
yeah.
life. But
Alive.
his character is still alive. Brian
Yeah.
is still
Oh.
there, but he just doesn't turn up because he's looking after the kids.
Yeah.
Because they've all got kids now. So
Of course, the reason is family. Of course,
yeah,
it is.
he's looking after
Family.
the family. I mean, he must be cursing himself every time they go on an adventure and they're going, fucking looking after her again.
They come back and say, "Guess what we did today?" So,
Oh, yeah.
I drove a car into space on the back of a rocket. Where were you? Oh, that's right. You were at home
Changing
with the
nappies.
kids.
How boring.
Vin Methane. Thinking man's joke, everybody, and then we'll move on. Jim D. Vin Plate. Very good. Let's move on. The family. Vex Electronica posted this. Before Barbie began filming, Ryan Gosling sent a Scottish man in a full kilt to the Barbie sleepover. The man played the bagpipes and read a speech from Braveheart. He says he chose the speech because sometimes you just need to hear it. I've never seen Braveheart.
Are you
What?
serious? What is
No,
wrong with you?
Mr. Brown isn't alone. I've never seen it either.
What? Oh, well,
Yep.
you're young. You get a pass. You're old.
Well, I'm old. I get a pass
Yeah.
as well.
No, you don't. This came out during your time, bro. You got to
I've
get
just-
in the bin.
I'm just not interested in Braveheart.
It was
Maybe
really
it's
good.
maybe it's because I'm a Sassanaka. I don't know.
Even
Yeah,
though, you know,
same.
Mel Gibson's a crazy person nowadays, like it was still a decent movie at the time.
I'm more interested in him as Martin Riggs, to be fair, but
Yeah,
it's a
I
stream
can see
killer.
that.
It's a classic movie. I thought everyone had seen Braveheart.
I know.
No. I've actually had the I think it's extended collector's edition or something like that. I've had it for years. I've just never watched it.
Oh.
I haven't seen it.
Well, do, because Mel Gibson's Scottish accent is hilarious, but also the
It
speech is
is.
quite good.
Like, try to picture an Aussie faking being a
There you
Scottish
go,
person.
Iceman, yeah.
Yeah, then I think I'll watch it. Well, probably I have it, so it's been waiting for years. So I'll just put it in.
Yeah, do a review. Here you go, Andy Mouse, nor me. Oh, sorry, Atom. I think I'm in the bin.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See? They know what's up.
I have only seen it once. It's one of those films that lots of people rave about, which is why I got the impression everyone had seen it. And I remember watching it and thinking, yeah, it's okay. But never, I didn't love it, but it was okay.
I think it's been on TV the old fellow was probably watching it, and I probably saw bits of it. But I don't think I've ever sat from beginning to end. I don't think I've seen much of it.
Oh, the
Yeah.
end
go.
of it is really disturbing. But
You go.
yeah.
M Duke 84, I'm Mr. Brown says me. Do you actually know about popular culture?
Evidently not.
Well, I never said I did.
Well, you do in your channel's description.
Oh, do you? Oh, called out.
Somebody wrote it.
Oh, okay. All right then.
I watched Braveheart once. It put me off going to Scotland. I've not been since.
But if you want
I'm
to
telling
understand
Brian.
anything about Scottish politics these days, then watching Braveheart is essential because the SNP is basically the Braveheart Party. So it's useful as a piece of sort of cultural propaganda.
So, to those who've seen Braveheart, would you consider watching? Because I was reading just before the stream, and Mel Gibson said that he has a director's cut that is 4 hours long. So, since you guys like Braveheart, would you add an extra hour to the movie?
Oh
I'm
man,
not
that's
even sure
a
if I
long
like it.
movie.
So no.
But I do like to give director's cuts a chance because sometimes they're better, not always, but sometimes it's like, oh wow, that
Yeah.
really helps to flesh out
Oh,
this
yeah.
part of the movie or this character. So I really do enjoy watching some director's cuts.
Other
I'm-
times you get
yeah.
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
I like Zack Snyder's Justice League and
pack
so
it
did
in.
Brown. So
Here you go. Fear the Hammers. Braveheart is a good watch.
Director's cuts are useful because, like, especially in the case of Zack Snyder, you will get like whole legions of fanboys who will say, well, no, the reason the Justice League thing isn't very good is because they did away with Zack Snyder's vision.
Well, look at BBS.
And so you watch the director's cut to understand the director's vision, and then you can say categorically, no, the vision was always shit. That's not the issue.
Well, that's what happened with the Batman versus Superman Ultimate Edition. That's what they called it.
Oh, we said we were going to review that, didn't we?
yes, we did.
Shit, I need to do that at some point then. Okay. Yeah. Okay, look, Andy Mouse says, going back to previous story, net zero by 2050. Bollocks. Yeah. Okay, let's move on.
Get bogged down.
Speaking of getting bogged down.
Oh, no.
Oh, did you see someone else? His rival said something
Yeah.
to the contrary recently.
This is like the turd that refuses to flush.
The turd in the punch bowl.
Is it really that big a deal? Like,
Yes.
does anybody like? I'm
Yes.
sorry, I really don't care either way. Like, I'm just.
I don't.
See, here's the thing, Matt. I don't really think, and this is probably going to piss some people off, but I don't think Blade Runner was that great of a movie.
I agree,
And so
100%. I am not a
don't
fan.
care whether Deckard was human or a replicant, but in my opinion, it seemed as if he was more on the human side than replicant when you look at all the clues in the movie. But then you've got someone out there spurging, well, I know that he's a replicant because of this, this, and this, and my video is fact and everyone else is full of shit. And so I won't say who the YouTuber is, but I think we all know.
I know who the YouTuber
And
is.
so they've also had a feud going with Robert Meyer Burnett lately, and I think it started with the whole replicant thing. And I just think it's funny that R&B posted this recently. So it's just funny to me that people take this so seriously.
They do. I mean, there is an entire region of the autistic spectrum which is dedicated to people arguing about Deckard being a replicant. It's the Deckard
Well, I'm
run
on
of
it, I
the
think. I'm
spectrum
on it.
ladder. I agree that I don't think it's worth getting that worked up about. I disagree fundamentally that the film isn't very good. The film is brilliant.
What?
But it really, really is. The film is fantastic. If you
There
watch
you
the
go,
very
Iceman.
cut,
Blade Runner is a masterpiece.
yes,
Stream killer.
I agree.
Yes, I agree. The
Thank you,
Deckard
Iceman.
is not a replicant.
I don't believe he is.
Well,
but you
depends
know what?
what version
I'm
you
not going to
watch.
go to fisticuffs for it. You know?
Yeah, that is true. There's
What I don't like is when the directors and the writers start coming back because they're aware that the fan debate has sprung up, and they go back and say, well, obviously he is this, that, or the other, as though they intended it at the time. I think that defeats the object. I like it when a film creates this sort of debate among its fans.
Yes.
I just don't think the directors should retroactively step in and try and answer that question, because half of the appeal of the film is that it lets the audience have these arguments for themselves. That's a sign of a flourishing fan base, is when people get
Exactly.
Okay, chat. Right. If you're aware of Blade Runner, which I'm sure you are, Deckard, is he a replicant? Yes or no?
Put an R in the chat for replicant and a
You,
H
why?
in the chat for
why
human.
why for yes?
Oh, come on. R for replicant and H for human makes
Okay,
sense.
just okay. Or I can't
Huh.
argue with the Queen. Okay.
I might hijack this, though. Also, you can put F in the chat for people who don't like Blade Runner.
Like, yeah, or fuck it.
Or F you if you don't like Blade Runner.
See, who cares?
I think it's very dependent. It is very dependent on the version you watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, hugely.
That's
Okay.
true. I did
You go-
watch the extended cut, and to me, he's a human, but I'm not that invested.
I think it's the final cut, the one you have to watch.
Yeah, I've only watched the theatrical cut. There's so
same.
many.
Oh.
There's so many of them.
Yeah, but the theatrical cut is basically an entirely different film. That's the one with Harrison Ford narrating in a film noir detective style.
Yeah.
It's such
Yeah.
a different film than any version that comes after it that it's almost the least representative version.
See, that's so funny because I also don't like the movie. I'm like, this movie sucks.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal, right?
Yeah, I'm just like every time somebody's like, "Oh, you should watch Blade Runner. It's so good." I'm all like, "Okay, I watched it. It wasn't that great." I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, but
Well,
But you
I
only
was
saw
like,
the
meh.
theatrical version, so you
that
haven't
is
seen
it.
the
But that's
film.
not my fault. They put out that version and then they put out a whole bunch of them, and I'm not gonna watch a million other movies of the one that I saw that
See,
was crappy.
Yes. Jay Goodwin, original cut, human, yes.
And I agree. I've always thought he was
Final
human.
cut, replicant.
Yeah, Harrison Ford thinks he's human.
Yeah.
Yep, and he's the actor
It's-
that played him. So
It
there you
really
go.
is funny to me because I love nerds, how they get around this stuff, how they just like this is what they focus on, and I'm all like, don't get me wrong, I get it when you have something that you love, you focus on it, but this is not my jam, so I don't care.
So here you go. Huey Jewett both agreed. Totally agreed.
Yeah, both.
I like what Smilex said. The final speech is much more poignant if he's human, and I do agree with that. But yeah, again,
He's an
it's
You can
not
add
a
the
big deal.
complication is that the complication you can add to that is does he know that he's human or not? So you could get around that by
He's
saying
fluid,
that he is a
apparently.
replicant, but he doesn't know that he is one. So Rutger Hauer's final speech references you people because Roy Batty thinks that he's human, but again, you can get around that by saying that actually Deckard doesn't know himself, and Batty has no reason to know whether or not he's a replicant. He simply assumes that he's human. So it's not a necessary read into that he is human. You can go both ways with that, as is always
Well,
the best way.
I saw an amazing comment to this tweet, by the way, that's on the screen. And somebody said, what's the point of him being a replicant? Because basically it was just two robots having sex in the movie. And I just died laughing. I was
Well, it
like,
was
this
great,
is
wasn't it?
amazing. Yeah, there were some great comments in here. And then when the refutal or rebuttal came out from the other person, it was hilarious watching people just go back and forth.
Are we
I
saying
died.
is he replicant fluid?
No, so he's not
No.
a replicant at all. Why
It's
would
non-binary.
why would Tyrell make Deckard a replicant who's less stronger and less faster than the other replicants that are coming to
No, he's
kill Tyrell?
is an
Well,
Nexus
to make him
7.
more human.
Is a Nexus 7.
Why? Why would you want somebody
Advanced
with
model.
human vulnerabilities
Yeah.
to protect you from?
Same
Yeah,
as
that's
Rachel
that's
is a
true.
Nexus 7.
Yeah.
Your like next model is typically upgraded, not downgraded.
Nexus
You
7.
are correct, Z.
Batty was a Nexus 6. Rachel and Deckard, advanced model, Nexus 7.
But then, by the same
why they could have
token,
children.
why would you make replicants humanistic to begin with,
Yeah.
when you could much more efficiently accomplish your goals with a simply robotic automaton or a drone which is equally capable without any of the flaws of personality that the replicants have.
Could you say
Well, but that would be
robotic
Terminator.
automaton again? That was fantastic.
Robotic automaton.
Oh,
Oh, I
So-
think you just got Brown excited.
For sure, I'm hard.
this is it's just a conversation that kind of blows up once a year. This does,
And it's hilarious that they're grown
and I think
men.
I just think Robert Meyer Burnett, who I think is great.
Yes, he's amazing and he's very well talented. It's just funny to me.
I also like Doomcock.
You're on
Somebody
your own
has
with that
to.
one.
Or at least that's what Doomcock's
two-
rumours have you
Yeah.
believe that you like.
His sources have
I just think
said-
these two need to have it out
For
over.
sure.
Yeah, I think it would
Yeah.
be a pretty damn good stream if these.
I
two
would,
are
I
out.
would watch
and-
100%.
And you know what? They need to trying to smooth it over a bit. They just need to bury the hatchet with some of this shit that's gone on.
They
in
should
the past.
monetize a celebrity boxing match. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, you can do a
Yeah,
boxing
but then
match,
Doomcock's
Wings
mask will
versus
get punched
Boogie.
off his face,
yeah. Okay.
and then it'd be a major
Yeah.
face reveal. So
But
As
I'm with
YouTubers,
bringing up to
I
a
love
point.
them both.
like,
So yeah.
I think the argument itself is fascinating, and I love that people are interested enough to have it. There's a huge amount of philosophy that goes into the question, because it's fundamentally a question of the value of humanity, is whether Deckard is a replicant or not. Does he need to be or not for the story to make sense? These are brilliant, brilliant conversations to have, but it's when
Yes.
people turn them into this entire identity-based movement. I'm right, you're wrong, and you're shit if you disagree with me.
correct.
That's when it ceases to be a purely philosophical debate, which is fascinating, and becomes this weird little sort of online politic thing, which is just cringe and embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay Goodwin, I don't know what exactly. Doomcock predicted Brownie would support Doomcock. months ago.
his sources
The
told him.
sources, yeah, exactly.
That's good. That was a good one.
I kind of get yes, Doomcock is a replicant. Yes. Okay. Shall we move on, folks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it.
Drum roll. Grrr.
Someone's died. Who's dead?
Ah!
Me.
Hey, look, who's that? Who's that cutie? Who's that little cutie pie? I'd fuck him.
Look at them cheeks. Look at cheeks.
Go on, Catty. Explain for the viewers at home what this is about. Then.
Okay, so our friend Movie Cynic
Who I
wrote a
invited, but he's unavailable.
right on. He wrote a comic book called Infinite, and I bought it because I was interested in what he had wrote, and it's actually really good. I really love the concept that he came up with, and I wish it was longer. It ends on like a cliffhanger. He has I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. He has explained that he is going to be working on furthering the story, but he has to wait until the rights come back to him or whatnot. But I'm interested in the story. It's a very good story. It's a very good concept, and I couldn't encourage anybody more to except he doesn't make I don't know how much I'm allowed to say this because this is his story. He doesn't make the money off of it because the people that own the rights to it make the money off of what I bought personally.
Yeah.
So I would say don't buy it because he doesn't make any money off of it, but at the same time I personally really thought it was good and I really liked it.
Perhaps reach out to
Yeah.
Movie Cynic.
Yeah.
Find out.
I
what
think the
best
answer is
way is.
don't buy it yet. Wait till the
Yeah.
rights
Find out what the
revert
best way
and the
is,
crowdfunder for Volume 2 starts.
Yeah, and exactly, you guys.
Is
But
this anything to do with that stream you did the other night, Lord, or is this something totally different?
No, this is it was mentioned on that stream, but that was the guys at Desolate Soul Studios who
Yeah.
launched their own comic and their crowdfunding for that as well, which I recommend you check it out. I think I linked to it on my community page. So they're creating their own version. This was brought up in the conversation around that, but it wasn't about that.
Right.
yeah.
Okay. So you say this is the first book he's wrote then, or did you say he was the illustrator?
Yeah, from what Movie Cynic explained to me was they filmed what he had drawn and then he just
Right.
drew it and he had wrote the whole story out and like I said, the concept is from what I understand, is you at some point in some people's lives they get infinite life. They don't die from disease. They can die from, like, if you get stabbed in the face, you're gonna die from it or whatnot. But they don't die from natural causes like you would, and they don't grow old, kind of like vampires and everything. So that happens.
There's an X-Men link that comes in. So it's essentially what are the social consequences of some people being born with infinite life, and what does that mean? Like, how does society pan out when some people are given this and other people are not?
Yes.
And as far as I understand it, there are a number of sort of nuances. Like what happens if a baby is born with essentially eternal life, but will never physically mature beyond that point. So you can see the X-Men link in that, the X-Men is largely sort of the social consequences of mutation, and how does society react to people who are different, which is the overarching sort of moral question. But this is more nuanced than the X-Men because it's not sort of magical powers. It
sounds quite deep.
Eternity. Yeah, it sounds it.
Yeah.
So, Brown, there's two really great comments in here.
Stop taking over. I'm on it. Okay. Renielle, who's married, apparently she's wetting herself.
No.
Do you want to read it?
I thought that was Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, man. Don't insult me. Don't insult me.
And Jay Goodwin got a really funny one in there, too.
Is it before or after?
After.
Is it this one?
It's so great. I'm sorry, but you guys had to see that. It was too funny.
Right on. That is
Dark
funny.
Arrow,
That
if
is
you're still
very
in the
funny.
chat, the Joe Rogan is you.
That's so funny. That's funny.
It's amazing.
Okay. Beast Sup is on tomorrow, isn't it, Lord?
Can't wait.
I believe it is, yeah.
Topics, do we know? Or are you just turning up?
I have not had any time to look, and I don't even know if Cynic's had time to look because I think he's away with his parents. Who the fuck knows, really? That's how we roll. It'll be announced at some point, maybe.
Okay, right. I think that is it. In fact, I know it is. So 3 hours. That's the result. So chat, you are wonderful. Genuinely some great comments tonight. On fire, as per usual. So I will thank you on the 3 hours. Chat, you're wonderful. We'll see you next time. I will thank the guests. Z3PO.
Always a pleasure, sir. Never a chore. It's good to be back on here with all you lovely people.
Great to have you on, mate. First timer, we've popped his cherry, the uninspired reviewer.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Brown. Honestly, it was really fun. And really, thank you again.
Great to have you on, mate.
The chat. Thank you to the chat.
Great to have you on. Okay.
He won't be walking straight for 3 days.
Renielle, thank you. You're married, apparently.
Yeah, according to rumors, I am indeed married. Thank you for having me on, Brown. It was great to meet you, uninspired reviewer.
He's great.
I think you did well for your first wild stream, for your first live stream. So I think you did pretty well. But yes, Z, it was nice to chat with you again. You as well, Matt Cat, and of course you, Ben, as well. So. Yeah.
Not me, though. Okay.
I said thank you.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did.
Carrie Maddie, cheers, pal.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I always have a good time. Listen,
Linda.
Listen, I always have a good time with you folks. It was a good time. Thank you so much for having me.
And last but by no means least, the Lord, everybody, Little Platoon. Cheers, my friend.
Thank you as ever.
Do we know when this meetup is happening?
Oh, fuck knows. No, I have no idea.
It's all down to the Blue Boy, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't. Has he bought his tickets? I think he's coming over.
Yeah,
I should probably find out because he's supposed to be staying at mine. So I should probably find out when he's actually going to arrive. But yeah, at some point, I guess.
I will say I know there's a few people in the chat from West Yorkshire in Blighty. I would be more than willing to or up for meeting up at some point locally. I know there's a few.
Go to the pub, get smashed.
Yeah.
It'll be good fun.
Yeah. Wakefield, Castleford, Leeds, anywhere like that. So I think that is it, folks. Yeah. Z's good at stuff like that. Okay. I think that's it, folks. I will well, we'll take our leave. There's Rowan. That's it. I think we're out of here. We're back. I think we're back Wednesday to do
part 3 of the Phantom Menace.
part 75 of
Yay.
the
Lord have
Phantom
mercy.
Menace.
I love your guys' coverage of the Phantom Menace.
Nobody's watching it though. But anyway.
Really?
Oh,
Oh, man.
What?
I might
I'll
be
be
able to
there.
come to this one, so give me a shout. Hopefully, if
Oh,
all the
typical.
stuff's out of the way, I'll be around.
We're just about to start the pod race.
Oh, I'll be in the chat for sure.
So there's nothing to say for the next 40 minutes of video. Formula One, that's it.
Oh my.
I think that is it,
Pod
folks. I think that is it. Sorry, Z. The Lord and Blue Man are back tomorrow with B-Sup. Probably
Yeah.
same time.
They
as
are
always.
indeed.
I think
gonna be great.
10:30 British summertime. That's it, folks. We'll see you Wednesday. If we don't see you Wednesday, we'll see you next week. Have a great week. I can't speak. Tell you bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.